Chapter 972. The boss put his hands behind his back and walked towards the reclining chair. Shui chuckled beside him. Seeing that she wasn't satisfied, he walked up and caught up with the boss. The two of them talked about something and the boss quickly came back. Not only did he unlock the machine, but he also put in a few other cute bags. Cough, I remembered wrongly. This isn't the one that's broken. Please continue. Xianxia blinked. After the boss left, she whispered to Shui, "What did you say to him?" Shui smiled teasingly. "I said that if my girlfriend isn't satisfied, she might come here secretly at night and tear down all the claw machines. Also, I bought this claw machine along the way. Am I that kind of person?" The girl smiled. "At most, I'll tear down half of it." Shui ruffled her soft hair. "Let's continue. I want that carrot bun." "Okay, I'll get it for you." The two of them returned with a full load after a long time. Xianxia tied the strings of the plush bag together and hung it around Shui's neck. The contrast between the tall and straight man and the cute cartoon bag was quite cute. Shui said helplessly, "Fortunately, I put on a disguise. Otherwise, my fans would definitely stop being my fan." Unsurprisingly, this scene was also recorded in the post by the original poster. 555th comment. "Aw, I'm dying. Sister E is too cute. I announce that I'm now Zai's mommy fan." 598th comment. "Oh my god, Shui is so doting. I heard his conversation with the claw machine boss. He bought the claw machine for Zai. Mother is very satisfied with this son-in-law." 732nd comment. "Ha ha ha ha, I'm laughing my head off." Shui thinks that he hasn't been discovered and is worried that his fans will stop following him. I want to tell him that he's overthinking. He has been discovered long ago. Suddenly, the post was filled with laughter, and everyone was extremely happy with the candies. It was time for the movie ticket inspection. Shui and Xianxia entered the venue. Their seats were connected, but there was an armrest with drinks in between. "Cough, don't you think the drink is a little cold?" Xianxia whispered. Shui said warmly, "Shall I go out and buy you a hot drink? There's no need to go through so much trouble." Blushing, the girl silently raised the armrest and held Shui's hand with her cool little hand. Her milk-white and delicate little face was serious. "I'll warm you up." Shui was stunned for a moment, but then she reacted and held Xianxia's hand. "Yes." Before he could finish his sentence, a short "ah" came from the back. Xianxia looked back and saw a girl covering her mouth with her hand. There was a satisfied smile on her face. When she met Xianxia's eyes, she was obviously excited and subconsciously wanted to call out Xianxia's name. However, Xianxia raised her milk-white finger and made a shushing gesture. Her eyebrows curved into the shape of a crescent moon and she winked at her. The girl nodded hard to show that she understood. Xianxia turned around. The girl took out her phone and typed so fast that there was almost an afterimage. 1033rd comment. "Oh my god, what kind of luck do I have? I'm sitting right behind Shui and Zai." 1099th comment. "Zai smiled at me. She looks so beautiful with a mask on. Her eyes are really amazing." 1314th comment. I'm dead. Shui seems to be a little sleepy." Zai hugged him and put him on her shoulder. She even coaxed him to sleep softly. "Shui, you don't deserve it. Give me back my daughter." Chapter 973. All of a sudden, all the fans of Shui's mother and sister were in tears. "Woolly Zai is so obedient. Shui doesn't deserve it. You guys aren't the only ones who don't deserve it. Shui, don't think he deserves it either. Ha ha ha, I never thought that Shui would be criticized so badly by his own fans after so many years of debut." Shui originally wanted to tease the girl, but he didn't expect to fall asleep and actually fell asleep on Xianxia's shoulder. He didn't sleep well, but when he was with Xianxia, he seemed to be able to fall asleep all the time. Perhaps that was trust. When he woke up, the movie had just ended. Shui whispered, "Sorry." "What's there to be sorry about? You can catch up on your sleep while I watch the movie. Then, I can talk about the plot." "Both of us have profited." Shui couldn't help but laugh as he listened to the girl gently talk about the plot. The two of them held hands and never let go. Before leaving, Xianxia waved at the girl in the back row. The girl also waved at her excitedly until Xianxia disappeared from her sight. She updated the last comment in the post number 5213, "The galaxy is boiling hot. Why don't we have a bowl of spicy hot pot? Two people under the same roof. The best love, Shui, Xianxia." Red heart. This post received countless likes, and many years later, it was still in the favorites of some netizens. As long as they read the content of the post, they would smile. That was their youth back then. Facts had proven that geniuses were indeed geniuses. Wuxia's decision to ask Shui and Xianxia to go on a date was undoubtedly the right one. Ordinary people couldn't tell, but as the director, he could clearly sense the changes in their eyes through the camera. It was like honey melting in the sun, giving off a warm sweetness. "Let me talk about the scene for you too." Wuxia called the two of them over and began to talk about the scene. His Chinese was not good, so Shui and Xianxia had good English listening skills, so they could listen to him speak in English without any pressure. In conclusion, the scene that the two of them were about to shoot could be said to be the most erotic scene in the entire film. In the movie, Miss Zhang joined Austin's camp and helped him investigate his brother's death. At the same time, she was also looking for the sword manual called Martial Arts. Today's scene was set at a cocktail party. The two of them were communicating in secret, but unfortunately, they were discovered by the villain. In order to confuse the villains, the two could only pretend to be a couple. At this time, in the bathroom, the lights were dimmed, and the room was filled with mist. The pitter-patter of water did not stop. The snow-white bathtub was filled with red rose petals, and fluffy white bubbles almost overflowed from the bathtub. Outside the door, the villain's conversation could be heard. "Find them, now." In a moment of desperation, Miss Zhang had no choice but to push Austin into the bathtub. The man's clean and neat retro suit was instantly soaked. She wanted to slip away through the small window, but a pair of warm hands unexpectedly appeared on her waist. In the girl's astonished eyes, the hand holding her suddenly exerted force and pulled her into the bathtub. Bang! Water splashed everywhere. Miss Zhang raised her small face. There was uneasiness in her eyes, but also complicated feelings. The man raised his hand and wiped away the bubbles on her cheeks. His slightly calloused hand moved from her dimples to her lips, gently rubbing. His movements were deliberately slow, more than ambiguous, but not excessive. "There's someone inside." The moment the villain was about to break in, Austin spread the girl's long hair in his arms and lowered his voice. "You are now mine." Chapter 974. Boom! The door was kicked open and the villains with loaded guns appeared. What they saw was the scene of the man throwing away his glasses and kissing the girl's slender white neck. "Everyone." Wuxia shouted the sound card and looked at the playback. She frowned and called out the names of a few supporting actors. "Your positioning is wrong. Do it again." Xianxia was stunned for a moment before she suddenly realized. If they did it again, wouldn't they have to kiss her again? Oh, the previous scenes had been so smooth. There shouldn't be any NGs this time. Then, for the first time in history, Xianxia slapped herself in the face. This scene was shot over and over again, and there were all kinds of accidents every time. Some people forgot their lines, some laughed, and some broke the door too early. Xianxia and Shui also kissed again and again for the sake of art. After more than 10 takes, Wuxia reluctantly said that this scene was over. "Staff, I have a reasonable suspicion that Director Mu is a fan of the untimely CP. So many people on the internet are calling for head massages every day, but Director Mu is different. Can't he just do it on the spot?" To avoid awkwardness, the staff all left. Only Xianxia, Shui, and her manager, Nan, were left. Xianxia was wearing clothes under her costume to prevent her from exposing herself, but Nan still took out a pink planet bath towel and wrapped her up tightly. "Oh my, you're suffering too much." The bathtub water wasn't at a constant temperature. Later on, the water would turn cold, but she had to fall in again and again. Every time, she had to be in her best condition. It was really a great test. Recalling the scenes just now, Xianxia felt her whole body burning up. It's okay." It felt like she was in love at public expense. Nan had a bath towel in his hand. He was about to pass it to Shui when he heard the man say calmly, "You guys go out first. I'm going to take a shower." Oh, Xianxia, I'll put the bath towel on the shelf." Nan led Xianxia out. The two of them didn't think much about it at all and even started to casually gossip. That Xianxia drama started at a high point and ended at a low point. The first 2 episodes with Yu and Xianxia have already exceeded 500 million views. But when it reached the 3rd episode, it started to cramp. There were only tens of millions of views left, and the later episodes were even worse. I see. Anyway, I was scolded badly, especially by the female lead. Her acting is terrible. Also, she was complaining about you to her best friend and accidentally sent it to the group chat. It was exposed again, and the audience that she worked so hard to get is all gone now. Their voices became more and more distant. Shui took off his soaked jacket and shirt and turned on the cold shower. Water droplets dripped down along his high brow bone. Closing his eyes, it took him a long time to calm down his restless emotions. He was a man, not a saint. After taking a bath, Shui wiped her hair with a towel. She sensed the fluctuation in the air and narrowed her eyes, saying in a deep voice, "Come out." A crack seemed to have been torn open in the air. The first thing that came out were 2 furry airplane ears. Little White Tiger poked its head out and said obsequiously, "Lord Fu is here to visit you." Shui said coldly, "What's the matter?" "I've sensed the whereabouts of that annoying rabbit spirit." Little White Tiger looked like it was asking for credit. "Lord, what a coincidence. She's also reincarnated in this world. Do you want me to help you locate her?" After a few seconds of silence, Shui said coldly, "No need. Rabbit spirit, fox spirit, cat spirit, no one could compare to his little tutu." Chapter 975. The man's tone was cold and Little White Tiger immediately dared not speak. All of a sudden, its ears twitched and its expression changed drastically. "Lord, I have something urgent to attend to, so I'll leave first. Call me if you need anything." Shui expressed assent and crossed her arms, watching as Little White Tiger dug in the air with its chubby paws, creating a hole. Xiao Naofu's figure could be vaguely seen at the other end of the hole. The white and soft kitten tried its best to tiptoe and open the snack cabinet, but it couldn't open it no matter how hard it tried. It was extremely aggrieved. Atrocious. "This hoo can't open this cupboard?" Sob, sob, sob. Little White Tiger flashed through the hole and hooked its tail in the air, after which the snack cabinet automatically opened. Meow. Xiao Naofu blinked, seemingly in disbelief of such a surprise. Little White Tiger's arrogant and cool voice came from the air. "Hey, what else do you want to eat?" The hole in the air became smaller and smaller, and Shui couldn't see what happened behind it. However, the man raised his eyebrows and suddenly felt sorry for little Shiji, who was still working hard to earn points in the transmigration world. She wondered if the fur on its head had an additional blue and yellow hue. The reshoots lasted for several days. Xianxia originally thought that the kiss in the bathroom was hard enough, but she didn't expect the following scenes to be even harder. The two of them almost always passed 1 or 2 scenes, but the kissing scene always required at least 10 takes. Mu-Si even personally pressed their heads together and taught them how to kiss step by step. Little Bunny was so shy that she would smoke every time. As for a certain best actor, he also took plenty of cold showers. A few days later, the two of them filmed the last emotional scene. The scriptwriter added this scene to the dark moment before the climax of the film. In commercial films, the protagonists would often suffer repeated setbacks and lose everything, such as their loved ones or lovers. In addition to the intense tears, it was also to pave the way for the climax later on. In the film, Austin suddenly lost all clues and even vaguely realized that his brother's death actually had something to do with him. In other words, it was very likely that he was the one who caused his brother's death. At this moment, the big villain boss noticed Austin's intentions and personally came to kill Austin and Miss Zhang. The two of them fell into a desperate situation. At the critical moment of life and death, the two of them briefly kissed. After that, Miss Zhang pulled out her sword, which happened to be the scene that Xianxia had filmed earlier. On one hand, he knew that he might have indirectly caused his younger brother's death. On the other hand, he knew that Miss Zhang had allied with him because of the sword manual. He knew that this woman was very dangerous and could not be trusted completely, but he could not help but be attracted to her. Therefore, his emotions were very complicated. There was pain, suspicion, and love, but in the last moment, he realized that everything was because of his incompetence. He wanted revenge, he wanted to use his own method to defeat the villain. Wuxia explained the script in detail. The three of them discussed for a while before they started shooting. The wind howled. There's a train of thought in front of us. We can't escape. The girl was still wearing her beautiful red dress, but her dress was stained with different shades of blood. There's a way, there must be a way. The man, who had always been conceited and arrogant, said in a low and hoarse voice. I don't think I had the chance to tell you my name. Chapter 976. Swoosh, the girl's voice stopped abruptly as she stared warily at the villain outside the secret room. The footsteps were getting closer and closer, echoing in the quiet room. They were getting closer and closer. It was only a matter of time before they were discovered. But there was another secret room in this secret room. The girl made a decision almost instantly. She turned her head and looked at the young and handsome man in front of her with a sly smile in her eyes. Then let's treat it as a secret between us forever. Austin wanted to say something, but the world in front of him was spinning. He stared at the sedative in the girl's hand in disbelief and then collapsed to the ground. Miss Zhang placed him in a small secret room and stared at him for a while before smiling and kissing him on the lips. I'm leaving. The moment the girl turned her face away, a teardrop fell. At the same time, a teardrop fell from the corner of Austin's eye. Cut. After Wuxia shouted cut, the crew on set was still immersed in the sad atmosphere and couldn't extricate themselves. There was no emotional background music, no memory replays, and no editing done through post-production methods. However, the two of them relied on their acting skills to make the audience feel the sadness of parting with death. Not only the crew, but Wuxia's eyes also turned red. He blew his nose with a tissue as he watched the replays. Xianxia calmed down. She had always been quick to get into character and get out of character. She would feel sad when she was acting, but she would be fine after getting out of character. As for Shui beside her, he got into character and got out of character even faster than her. The two of them were simply the evildoers in the hearts of everyone in the crew. Xianxia was still worrying about whether to retake the scene when she heard a loud cry. Everyone looked over and saw that Wuxia couldn't control his emotions at all and was bawling his eyes out. His cries affected many people, and those who were easily moved to tears also started crying. Xianxia? Shui? The two of them looked at each other. I want to drink milk tea, strawberry tofu milk. Less ice and 30% sweetness. Hot. It's so hot that it's soulless. Let's go to ice, let's go to ice. The people around them, you two are heartless. Wuxia only regained her composure after Shui gave her some hot milk tea. You acted so well. You guys really brought these two characters to life. I feel like I'm not a director, but a witness. Wuxia blew her nose and said seriously, Mr. Shui, Miss Xianxia, it's an honor to work with you. Then, he chuckled and said, when the movie is released, I will crazily edit both of your doujinshi videos. I have two men who have the most kissing scenes in the world. Ha 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 ha. Xianxia was a little embarrassed and pretended to look at the props next to her. Shui said calmly, don't forget to make a copy for me. Xianxia. I heard that the two of you will be working together in the future. I'm really looking forward to it. When the time comes, I'll be able to be a mixed editor. Mu Si's eyes were filled with yearning. Hence, in the blink of an eye, 3 months had passed. Shui had officially finished filming and Martial Arts had entered the post-production stage. It was expected to be released in cinemas in China and overseas at the same time in February, which was the Chinese New Year. On the other hand, Xianxia and Shui had joined the set of another movie. Night is Coming. This time, the director was an old acquaintance, director Yan Zhenhua. As soon as Shui and Xianxia appeared, director Yan couldn't wait to get up and welcome them. Sister E, have you brought Yao? Chapter 977. Pfft, all the staff members who had watched Two Under One Roof couldn't help but burst into laughter. Director Yan, so many days have passed and you're still thinking about it? Xianxia smiled and pressed a button on the car key, after which the trunk automatically rose, revealing the vacuum-packed chicken, duck, goose, pig, rabbit, fish, and shrimp inside. There was an uproar at the scene. Is she here to act or to give us warmth? Oh my God, Sister E. She's so cute. Tears flowed down the corners of countless people's mouths. Director Yan swallowed his saliva and said, after the opening ceremony, we must have a good meal. The opening ceremony of martial arts was not that particular overseas, but the local film and television industry still attached great importance to it. Today's opening ceremony would be attended by all the major media outlets. Considering the film and the exposure of Xianxia and Shui, after some communication, the opening ceremony was chosen to be held in the form of a live stream. When the official Weibo account announced the news, the entire internet was cheering. Ah, it's been 3 months. 3 months. We can finally see our little brat. Previously, when they were in small pieces, they were already engaged in 2 months. Now it's been 3 months. Shui, why haven't you married Sister E yet? Are you impotent? I heard that director Yan's son, Yan Nai, will also participate in the filming of this movie. There's also a newcomer named Rong Huai. I remember that he appeared in small pieces. I'm looking forward to the scene of the 2 younger brothers surrounding Sister E while Shui sulks. It was past 9 o'clock in the morning. Director Yan had calculated the auspicious time and signaled the staff to begin the live stream. When the live stream was opened, a large wave of netizens flooded in, almost causing the servers of the live stream platform to collapse. In the technical department of Xingchen TV, the programmers looked weary. This familiar server fluctuation. Previously, when a certain celebrity's fans claimed to be a top celebrity, they were all on high alert. However, after a long time, the server didn't even crash. However, the server was already on the verge of collapse after only 1 or 2 minutes of the live stream today. This is a true combination of 2 top celebrities. Director Yan announced loudly, "Thank you, everyone, for attending the opening ceremony of Black Duck, Night is Coming." Here, I officially announce that the opening ceremony of Black Duck, Night is Coming has officially begun. The audience had a hard time trying to hold back their laughter, but the viewers in the live stream did not have so many scruples. The screen was full of ha ha ha. I'm not laughing. I faked it. Director Yan, do you want to eat duck? Sister Yi's ducks must have been fattened up. Oh my God, look at the tributes. Other than fruits and pig heads, there's really little rabbit farm spicy braised duck. Isn't it Black Duck? After everyone offered incense, it was the media's turn to ask questions. After the reporters asked Director Yan a few questions about the movie, they immediately aimed their cameras at Shui and Xianxia. Do you two have any plans to get married? How will you balance your career and family in the future? Although the 2 of you aren't married yet, your fans are urging you to have a second child. Do you have anything to say about this? Xianxia replied seriously, "These are spoilers, I can't tell you." The more serious she was, the more everyone wanted to laugh. This series of questions was instantly resolved. However, there were still some reporters who refused to give up. We're not asking about the movie's plot, we're asking about your private lives. Xiangyi retorted, since it's my private life, why should I tell you? If I don't, I won't. Chapter 978. The reporter? The corners of his mouth twitched. He never expected Xiangyi to be so difficult to deal with. Little did he know that although Xiangyi was gentle, she had been pampered since she was a child. If she liked someone, she would dote on them to the heavens. If she hated someone, she wouldn't even spare them a glance. In the live stream, oh my god, Sister E is so tough. That's right, it's her private life. If she wants to talk about it, she can. If she doesn't want to, why force her to? But she's a public figure. She has the obligation to entertain the public. If it weren't for her relationship, who would pay attention to her? You guys don't think she really has fans, do you? Oh wow, there's an idiot in front, someone's coming. Someone's finally coming. Everyone, let's report her. Unwilling to give up, the reporter went to ask Shui again. Shui, you and Sister E are 7 years apart. Sometimes, don't you feel that there's a generation gap? After all, you're so mature. He deliberately paused, implying that Xiangyi was too childish. Shui smiled and said with a kind gaze, there's a poem that goes, the drizzling rain returns to dream of a distant chicken, the wind blows through the jade building. Later, it was made fun of by Feng Yanxi's greeting the Golden Gate, as the blowing on a pool of spring water. You don't need me to say the rest, do you? The reporter was stunned. Huh? Why is Shui reciting a poem? How would he know what the next line of the poem was? At the scene, Director Yan had a strong literary foundation and instantly understood. He laughed on the spot and even cooperated with her. No way, right? Don't tell me there's really someone who doesn't know what the next line is? Most people didn't know, but in order to appear less ignorant, they all cooperated with Director Yan and laughed. The reporter, in the live stream, all the representatives of the Chinese class went online. I know this question. Blowing on a pool of spring water, the next line is, what's the matter? Translated from the original text, it means it's none of your business. Sure, Ingdi's memory is amazing, ha 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 ha, Director Yan is a god-level assistant, right? And Shui is so protective of his wife. When others mock Sister E, he immediately mocked them back. Who wouldn't love a man like him? Embarrassed, the reporter left with his tail between his legs. After he left, the atmosphere became much more harmonious. Everyone also realized that Xiangyi had a good temper. As long as someone asked her about the movie, she would answer. Moreover, she had her own ideas about the script. A female reporter asked, as we all know, this movie is based on a famous novel. Everyone in the novel is evil, and only Sister Yi's role as a female doctor is a positive character. However, this character has always been hated by fans of the novel. Sister E, are you worried that the netizens will scold you for being a White Lotus saint after the movie is released? Xiangyi, if there's evil, there's good. The boundary between good and evil isn't that clear. The novel chose to exaggerate for the sake of artistic expression, and the movie will continue to use this style. I think the role of the doctor is meaningful. She is not only the male lead's redemption, but also the only bright color in the original novel. She neutralizes the depressing atmosphere created by the novel. The female reporter hesitated for a moment, but still chose to tell the truth. Today, a large number of fans of the novel are boycotting you for playing the role of the female doctor. The author has yet to respond. Director Yan laughed in time. Okay, next question. At this moment, the female reporter's phone rang. She said, well, the author seems to have replied. Chapter 979. The original author seems to have replied. Everyone turned to look at her in unison. The viewers in the live stream also got nervous. Does the original author hate Sister E? Does he not want Sister E to play this role? The female reporter avoided the camera and glanced at her phone. Relieved, she smiled and said, Teacher Li's evaluation of you is like this. At this moment, some impatient netizens had already found the original author, Li Zizhuan's Weibo. They clicked on it and found that he had posted a long post a minute ago. Li Zijuan v. I'm very lucky, because the book Dark Knight is Coming has received a lot of love from many readers, but it has also gained some fame in the entertainment industry. It has been nearly 5 years since the book was completed, and every time I think of the characters in the book, I feel very conflicted. In the book, I wanted to express the complexity and multifaceted nature of human nature. Even the absolute evildoers would have a conscience, such as the love of a priest for a doctor. Even the kindest people would have evil thoughts lurking in the depths of their hearts, such as the dream of the doctor. It was the same for the other supporting roles. Due to my personal standards and energy, I did not participate in the creation of the movie version of the script, but the screenwriter had called me many times and talked to me face to face. He put in a lot of effort into this script. I have also read the finished script, and there were several adaptations that had great effects. In short, if it were me, I would never be able to write such a script. Laughing emoji. I look forward to the director, actors, and crew bringing everyone a more perfect version of Dark Knight is Coming. Also, I think it's very inappropriate to raise the issue of the role to the actors themselves. Of course, more importantly, I'm actually a huge fan of Xianxia. Ahem, do you think that middle-aged men don't chase after idols? You're very wrong. I've watched the entire season of Two Under One Roof. Dog head. P.S. Director Yen, if you change the title of my book to The Black Duck is Coming Again, I'll eat all the ducks that Sister E gave you. In the past, Li Zijuan's Weibo post would only receive a few hundred likes, but today, the number of likes exceeded 10,000. At the scene, the female reporter roughly summarized Li Zijuan's Weibo post and the media present had an idea. Doesn't Ms. Li mean to openly side with Xiangxia? The female reporter tried her best to hold back her laughter. Our sister E is really popular. Even Teacher Li claims to be your big fan. Xiangxia smiled. What a coincidence. I'm also a fan of Teacher Li's books. I've read all of his books. Director Yen finished the conversation in time. I will definitely work hard and live up to the efforts of Teacher Li and the scriptwriter. All the major media outlets sent their blessings, and the atmosphere was very harmonious. On the other hand, the netizens in the live stream were paying much more attention. Ha ha ha, I didn't expect that in addition to Big Sister fans, Mommy fans, Milk Powder fans, Grandpa fans. Sister Yi's popularity is amazing. There are very few artists in the entertainment industry who can win over all age groups. She really has a bright future. It's over, all I can think about now is Black Duck, Black Duck. Is there anyone who orders X Black Duck's neck, wings, and collarbone with me? The person in front, I'm crying. There's no X Black Duck near my house, there's only X flavor and X age. Hence, in addition to hashtag response from the original author of The Night is Coming, hashtag, there was also hashtag increase in sales of duck necks hashtag, the netizens exclaimed, X Black Duck has become the biggest winner? Chapter 980. All departments, take note, action. In the blink of an eye, it had been half a month since Xiangxia joined the crew. Mu Si's acting style was that of an artist's. When she was inspired, the entire crew had to be prepared to work 24/7. When she was down, the efficiency of the entire crew would also be affected. On the other hand, Yan Zhenhua was different. He was trained in acting and had been working steadily all these years. He had a strong foundation in acting, directing, and acting. The filming of Dark Knight is Coming also adhered to his usual style and followed the routine step by step. Shi Sui's performance gave him a huge surprise. In the past, Shi Sui was talented in acting and had his own style. However, his acting style was like that of a literary film. Although it was advanced, it was not down to earth. Now, his acting was on another level. As for Xiangxia, it was even more out of Director Yan's expectations. Director Yan was selfish towards Xiangxia and felt that as long as the young lady acted well, it would be good enough. How could a person be perfect? Her culinary skills, medical skills, art, martial arts, and so on were already so good. It was understandable that her acting skills were mediocre. Then, he was slapped in the face by Xiangyi. It was no exaggeration to say that regardless of whether Xiangyi took on Shui's roles or those of the veteran actors, she could handle them with ease. In a group of scenes, the young lady's performance would not steal the limelight, but it would not be insignificant either. For the first time, Director Yen felt that someone had perfectly interpreted the word moderate. She was impartial, moderate, and did not make any mistakes. Everything was just right. Today's scene was the scene of the female doctor giving psychological treatment to the rebellious young man and the depressed young man. The rebellious young man was played by Rong Hui, while the depressed young man was played by Yen Nai. Before the two of them joined the set, they had both taken acting classes and their performances were remarkable. However, Director Yen was also worried about something. Both of them were too weak when it came to acting. When acting with veteran actors, it was very easy for them to be suppressed and subconsciously let out of character. In other words, the two of them could not take on the role of the big shots at all. However, Director Yen was very surprised by today's scene. These two rookies were actually brought into the show by Xiangyi. There were many actors who could bring people into their roles. How could they bring two newcomers into their roles so quickly? He had really found a treasure this time. Today's chat ends here. The female doctor closed the medical records. She did not use the word treatment, but chat, which made the two teenagers visibly more relaxed. However, when you go back, you have to take your medicine obediently, or else. The two boys stared at her warily. Stretch out your hand. If you don't listen to me, you will. The two of them immediately stretched out their hands, their bodies trembling slightly as they used their body language to express their fear. This mental hospital had always treated its patients with punitive measures. In the next second, the gentle female doctor took out 2 milk candies from the pocket of her white coat and placed them in the palms of the two youths. Then there's no candy to eat. See you next time. I'm looking forward to seeing you guys share your fun things with me. After the female doctor left, the depressed young man whispered, "She's like an angel." The rebellious youth sneered, "Boring." Although he sounded arrogant, his actions were very honest. He immediately snatched the candy from the depressed young man's hand. This scene was not in the script, and it was purely Rong Hui's own performance. However, Director Yen felt that the impromptu scene was not bad and did not stop him. Little did he know that after this movie was broadcast, his son and Rong Hui had many fans who thought they were a couple. Chapter 981. The two teenagers got into a fight over a piece of candy, which was accompanied by opera-style music. It was full of dark humor. Rong Hui and Yen Nai also became popular actors because of this movie. Of course, this was a story for another time. On the set. After Xiangyi appeared on screen, she sat on a small stool with a smile and watched Rong Hui and Yen Nai act together. She felt like an old mother taking care of her children. When Director Yen shouted, "Cut," Xiangyi served the two of them a bowl of hot tonic soup. Drink more to replenish your energy. There's still a night scene tonight. Yen Nai's ears turned red shyly. Thank you, sister. You're good. Rong Hui stuck one hand in his pocket and pretended to be cold and aloof while ignoring Xiangyi. As soon as Xiangyi left, he immediately snatched Yen Nai's bowl of soup and gulped it down. Yen Nai jumped up and down. That's my soup. Sister gave it to me. Rong Hui said arrogantly, I've already drunk it. Should I spit it out for you? Yen Nai was speechless. He gritted his teeth and said, This is the bowl I drank from. Can you be more hygienic? Rong Hui wiped his mouth with the back of his hand and said, So what? We're all men. Don't tell me you mind that too. Yen Nai was speechless. The teenager's ears turned even redder. On the other side. Xiangyi pushed open the door of the dressing room to see that Shui was resting behind closed doors. Due to the needs of the role, Shui had grown some stubble and had also lost a few kilograms. He was completely skinny. It would be a lie to say that her heart did not ache for him. As soon as Xiangyi approached, the man suddenly opened his eyes and said, I heard that you scooped soup for Yen Nai and Rong Hui. Sister makeup artist, you're too nosy. Xiangyi felt helpless and amused at the same time. There, they only have a bowl, but you have a bucket, Shi Sui sighed softly and casually said. Other children already have someone to serve them soup. When will I be able to have one? Don't give me that. Xiangyi scolded him. She opened the heavy thermos and scooped a bowl of tonic soup for Shi Sui. Sure, little rascal, Sui, sigh, the other children all have someone to feed them, I don't know when I will, all right. Have some soup. The girl scooped up a spoonful of soup and fed it to Shi Sui. Ah, open your mouth. Shi Sui took a sip of the soup and picked up the phone on the table. The screen showed that they were in the middle of a video call. Shi Sui had muted the phone, so he couldn't hear Xiang Feng's voice on the other end. However, Xiang Feng could hear his conversation with Xiangyi clearly. In the image, Xiang Feng was so angry that he was pounding on a pillow, looking rather incompetent and furious. Shi Sui increased the volume of his phone and smiled. Is there anything else? If there's nothing else, I'm hanging up. Ah, Xiang Feng clenched his fists. King dog of a man. Xiangyi shook her head. Men were indeed kindergartners until death. The girl waved her hand and greeted her little uncle. Little uncle, have you eaten? Xiang Feng imitated Shi Sui. Whoa, if Shi Sui can have a bowl of soup, when can I have it? Shi Sui, ? Xiangyi, ? Was her little uncle gradually melting? However, other people's fake cries were all sobs, but her little uncle's cries were like the wailing of ghosts and howling of wolves. Xiangyi hesitated and said, Little uncle, why don't you hang up? Xiang Feng, huh? Oh, your snot bubbles are coming out of your nose. Xiang Feng. Chapter 982. More than 10 seconds later. After wiping his nose clean, Xiang Feng crossed his legs and placed one hand on the armrest of the sofa, thinking that he was a cold and domineering CEO. He cleared his throat and said, Tutu, go home after filming. I'll take your aunt home for dinner. Xiangyi's first reaction was, Little Shiji is back? That name successfully reminded Xiang Feng of his dark past. Marrying little Shiji, oh. He exclaimed, It's not little Shiji. It's a very beautiful girl. Ha! Xiangyi was astonished. Uncle, you actually found a girlfriend? Xiang Feng was dumbfounded. Wait a minute, what kind of image do I have in my little niece's heart? I'm also a handsome man who loves life. Isn't it normal to have a girlfriend? Congratulations, uncle, Xiangyi said smilingly. What does little auntie like to eat? I'll talk to grandpa and grandma. Since it's her first time here, we must treat her well. Well, I'll get a private detective to investigate later. Oh. After ending the video call, Xiangyi suddenly felt that something was amiss. Which boyfriend would hire a private detective to investigate his girlfriend? However, Shi Sui seemed to have thought of something and chuckled before saying a name. After all the twists and turns, it's still Sister Song. Xiangyi lamented. At this moment, a staff member knocked on the door. Shi Sui said, Come in. The staff member pushed the door open and reminded, Miss Shi, it's almost time for your scenes. Shi Sui pinched Xiangyi's little face and said, Wait for me at the hotel, okay? Xiangyi said, Okay, boyfriend, all the best. Shi Sui smiled and got up to go to the set. The staff member turned to the side and pressed down on his cap. Shi Sui brushed past him and suddenly stopped in her tracks, feeling that there was something strange about this person. She squinted her long and narrow eyes dangerously. Ahem, Miss Shi, it's almost time. Shi Sui stared at him without blinking. The staff member broke out in a cold sweat and didn't dare to look at him. 1 second. 2 seconds, after a long time, Shi Sui finally left. The staff member heaved a sigh of relief and took off his hat, revealing a fierce and sinister face. He walked into the dressing room and saw Xiangyi cleaning up the tableware. The little girl was gentle and meticulous in everything she did. She even sorted the garbage patiently. You're the one who stole our Qinbao's female lead role? The man's voice was low and angry. Xianxia raised her head, her clear doe eyes calm and indifferent. The man saw that she was not surprised at his appearance. He sneered and said, "It seems that you already knew that you would have this day. If you don't do anything wrong, how can your shoes not be wet?" Xianxia couldn't help but correct him, "You seem to have used it wrongly. The next sentence is I'm not afraid of ghosts knocking on my door, and the previous sentence is I'm always walking by the river." The man was obviously choked and said angrily, "What are you showing off for? Didn't you just study for a few more years? Our Qianbao was poor and didn't have the money to go to school. She didn't want to sleep with the unspoken rules, so you stole the female lead role. Let me tell you, I'm here today to take revenge for our Qianbao. Oh. Now, have a taste of what real fear is." The man smiled sinisterly and went to lock the door. Xianxia reminded him, "Are you sure you want to lock the door? Do you know fear now?" With a click, the door was locked. Chapter 983. Xianxia replied, "I think you'd better open the door." The man replied, "Do you think I'll give you a chance to escape? Let me tell you, I'm prepared to go to jail today. For my Qianbao, I don't want anything else." She was his goddess, whom he could only dream of. For her, he gave up his job as a mechanic and switched to being a stunt double. All the money he earned was hard-earned money. All the money he earned was spent on Qianbao. For her, he bought her gifts, he picked her up from the airport. Later on, during an offline event, the goddess of his dreams actually added him as a friend. In order to earn more money for Qianbao, not only did he become a stunt double, he also became a stunt double for a flying car. There were a few times when his life was hanging by a thread. But it didn't matter. He did his best just to let his Qianbao live a better life. Every time he earned money, he would transfer it to Qianbao. At first, Qianbao didn't want it. But after he begged her, she accepted it. Soon after, she bought him a gift. An obsidian button. Although he didn't need it, it was the first gift Qianbao had given him. Just like that, he and Qianbao became closer and closer. In the middle of the night, Qianbao would video call him and cry about how pitiful she was. His heart ached every time, but he couldn't do anything about it. All he could do was give her more money. This time, he really couldn't take it anymore. Xianxia was clearly living a good life. Why did she have to snatch Qianbao's role as the female lead? No way. He wanted to destroy her. The man's fierce gaze landed on Xianxi's face and he took out a fruit knife from his back. The knife was sharp and it reflected a cold light. Xianxia slowly wrapped the thermal box with a floral cloth and tied a beautiful bow on it. "If you don't leave now, you won't have another chance." B*TCH, who are you trying to scare? Without this face, let's see how you're going to snatch our Qianbao's things. Before she could finish her sentence, Xianxia casually hooked the chair, and the chair smashed into the man's body with an astonishing force. F*CK. The man barely steadied himself, took out a fruit knife, and slashed it across Xianxi's face. The girl's speed was even faster than his. It was beyond the speed of an ordinary human. She grabbed his wrist backhandedly. With a twist, the fruit knife fell to the ground. The man's wrist was dislocated in an instant, and he screamed like a pig being slaughtered. Xianxia asked in a friendly manner, "Do you want to continue? I can set your bones just right. Man? If you don't say anything, I'll take it as a yes." The girl's voice was clear and sweet, and her movements were clean and efficient. Crack. The crisp sound of bones being set rang out at the same time as the man's wails. Xianxia let go of him. The man tried to move his wrist. It was really healed. I was wrong, he apologized and pretended to be timid as he retreated. However, the first thing he did was to pick up the fruit knife on the ground and throw it at Xianxia. Swish, the girl casually caught the hilt. "It seems that your apology is insincere." After saying that, Xianxia tossed the fruit knife in her hand like she was throwing a dart. The tip of the knife seemed to have grown eyes. It brushed past the man's ear and nailed itself into the door. Man! He hurriedly unlocked the door and tried to escape, but he realized that the door had been locked from the outside. The man suddenly had the urge to vomit blood. Who is so wicked and heartless? Below the number of words is free, lucky draw list, 16 knights, brocade koi, handsome tangerine pie. No comments. The above cuties can send a private message to Wuxia Xianxia on Weibo to receive the prize. Crab, 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 I'll make up for the rest of the updates, for all, sweetheart, good night. Chapter 984. Behind him, the footsteps were getting closer and closer, tap, 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 it was light and agile. To the man, it was scarier than a horror movie. He turned around and saw Xianxia walking towards him step by step. Her eyes were filled with horror, and her back was pressed against the door. A chill ran down her spine, causing her to break out in a cold sweat. What are you doing? Even his voice was trembling. Xianxia's expression didn't change. She pulled out the fruit knife that was nailed into the door. Her voice was gentle and soft, and she was a little annoyed. Oh no, I broke the door. I have to replace it. The man turned his head stiffly and found that there was a hole in the door that had been nailed through. Even a sturdy wooden door could be pierced through. If it was his head instead, the man was trembling. Where was the arrogance from before? Open the door, he wailed. He finally understood what true fear was. The girl raised her eyebrows. That's why I told you not to lock the door. The man wanted to cry, but no tears came out. He finally understood that Xianxia didn't ask him not to lock the door for her sake, but for his own good. Xianxia patted his face with the back of the knife and asked calmly, "Tell me, why did you come looking for trouble with me?" The man's cheeks were cold, and his legs were weak. He had never been so scared in his life. He explained the whole sequence of events in detail. I did all this for Qianbao. Thinking of Qianbao's beautiful face, the man regained his strength. He looked at Xianxia with eyes full of hatred. If it wasn't for you, Qianbao wouldn't have. Xianxia couldn't be bothered to listen to his emotional speech. She went straight to the point. Director Yan hates unspoken rules and connections the most. Even Yan Nai had to go through many selections and auditions before he could play a small supporting role, not to mention a female lead role. I heard Director Yan mention that the actress you're talking about was eliminated in the preliminary stage. The reason was that her acting skills were too weak. She was given half an hour to prepare, but she didn't even remember 2 lines. There was never any shady dealings, and no one persecuted her. With Director Yan's personality, if he really chooses her to be the female lead, no one will be able to snatch her away. The man felt as if he had been struck by lightning. He was stunned for more than 10 seconds before he murmured, "No, I don't believe it. The audition video was released a long time ago, but not many people paid attention to it. You should be able to find it if you search for it." The man trembled as he took out his phone. He searched for a while and found the audition video. Qinbao's performance could be described as barely satisfactory. It was already good enough. Regardless of whether it was her acting skills, her knowledge of the lines, or her ability to change her emotions, there wasn't a single thing that she could bring out. She cried for a long time, but not a single tear fell. Her eyes widened in anger, shock, and even when she saw the male lead, her eyes widened. The man fell to his knees in silence. Could it be that Qianbao was lying? No. Impossible. Why would she lie to me, Xianxia, then take your time crying? I'll leave first. The man couldn't open the door no matter how hard he tried, but she easily opened it. After the girl left, the man pulled at his hair frantically for a long time before he realized that Xianxia was she didn't argue with him. How could there be such a good thing? He was secretly relieved and was about to leave when a slender figure blocked his way. Shui smiled faintly. You're bullying my little bunny, huh? With a casual tone, he closed the door. The man? Chapter 985. Xianxia carried the thermos and walked over while the crew members rushed to greet her. Sister E, it's been hard on you, go back and rest well. See you tomorrow, Sister E. Xianxia responded with a smile. A new crew member stared at her slender back and swallowed his saliva. Wow, I realized that men aren't the only ones who are lustful. Even girls are lustful when they see pretty girls. The person beside him laughed and said, exactly. The newcomer said, but then again, Sister E is really popular. Of course. She's pretty and polite, and she even brings delicious food for everyone. Who can resist that? Just as they were chatting, they suddenly received a notice. The stunt actor for today's flying car had skipped work, and the director was trying to find another person to replace him. The two of them hurriedly shared the post on their WeChat moments, but to no avail. Stunt actors for flying cars are rare, to begin with. It'll probably be difficult to find one at the last minute. But I heard that today's scene is very important. The car and detonation point have all been prepared. Director Yen even specially applied to the higher-ups to seal off a section of the road on the mountain. If the filming doesn't go well, we'll lose a lot of money. Everyone in the crew was similarly worried. On the set, Director Yen was so anxious that he was walking around in circles. The contract has already been signed. Why isn't that person here yet? Yen Nai was memorizing his words at the side like an obedient child. Rong Huai, who was beside him, was playing with his cell phone nonchalantly. After scrolling through a Weibo post, he sprung up. What's the matter? Yen Nai hurriedly asked upon seeing his strange expression. F***CKXXXXX, this group of bastards XXXX, what kind of shit is this? The young man spat out a string of vulgarities, causing Yen Nai's eyes to widen. You, how can you scold people? Rong Huai said angrily, take a look for yourself. Yen Nai leaned over to look at his cell phone screen, only to see that Rong Huai had scrolled through a Weibo post in the same city. There were 0 likes and comments, but the content was terrifying. Qianbao's Night V, for Qianbao, I'm willing to do anything. My heart belongs to you. As long as you're happy, I'll ruin Xianxia. The accompanying picture was of a pair of tattooed hands holding a fruit knife. Yen Nai's face paled. This tattoo. I've seen it before. He seems to be today's stuntman. Rong Huai's pupils constricted as he cursed under his breath and immediately went to look for Xianxia. Just as his long legs moved, he saw Xianxia appear in his line of sight. Rong Huai locked his gaze on Xianxia and heaved a sigh of relief after making sure that she was safe and sound. Xianxia walked up to Director Yen and briefly explained what had happened between her and the stuntman. No one heard him clearly. They only heard Director Yen ask in return. The stuntman left? You're letting him go just like that? Realizing that his voice was too loud, Director Yen lowered his voice. Don't be afraid, I'll call the police now. I must seek justice for you. The staff didn't hear the rest of the words and couldn't help but whisper, so it was Sister E who asked the stuntman to leave? Is there something you're hiding? The speed at which gossip spread was even more rampant than a virus. By the time it was posted online, it had already become, Xianxia threw her weight around and chased away the stuntman from the production team, causing the production team to suffer heavy losses. Several fans, who had long disliked Xianxia for taking on 2 good jobs in a row, began to make sarcastic remarks. Wow, she's so arrogant. Be careful, the higher you stand, the harder you fall. Chapter 986. She's been bragging about being gentle all this time, but now she's given herself away. I knew she wasn't a good person. Seriously, don't you think Xianxia is very scary? She's always wearing a mask, which makes her look so unreal. She can't even tolerate stuntmen. This must be her true colors. Oh my god, I heard that the crew even sealed off a section of the road for this scene. If we can't film it today, the losses will be at least 7 figures. The Spicy Tutu fans' response to this was, quietly watching you guys wreak havoc. JPG, the Shui sisters were fiercely protective of their child. AB*TCH will be punished by the heavens. Whoever badmouths Sister E is going to lose. In terms of combat power, the Shui sisters were no match for the Shui sisters even if they joined forces. For a while, they didn't dare to confront them head-on. However, it wasn't easy for them to find a flaw in Xiang Yi, and they tried their best to magnify it. Xiang Yi has caused losses to the crew, do you admit it? I'm dying of laughter. Who's badmouthing her? She's the one who did something wrong. No matter what the reason is, there are no stuntmen anymore. Can she bear the responsibility? While the netizens were arguing, the crew was very harmonious. Director Yen carefully instructed someone to call the police, but he didn't forget to comfort Xiang Yi. Sister E, don't feel burdened. You're completely the victim today. Don't worry. I'll pay for the losses of the crew out of my own pocket. I can still afford it. He was a director, but he was also a human being. A crime was a crime, and the culprit should be the one to blame, not the victim. Xiang Yi was stunned for a moment, and a warm current flowed through her heart. She was actually very lucky to always meet such a gentle person. The girl blinked and asked, "Stuntmen? Excuse me, can I try it?" A few minutes later. The entire crew was in an uproar. Have you guys heard? Sister E volunteered to be in charge of the stuntmen today. Sister E is so delicate and weak. Has she gotten her driver's license yet? How can she do such a dangerous thing? That's right. How can a girl do such a thing? Under everyone's watchful eyes, Xiang Yi opened the car door and sat in the driver's seat, not forgetting to fasten her seatbelt. The car window rolled down, and the young girl stuck her head out and said to Director Yen, "I only know a little bit. Please take a look at the effect first. If it doesn't work, we can think of another way together." Director Yen looked like a worried father. Sister E, it's too dangerous. Be good, get out of the car first. Even if I have to go racing, I can't let you go. His nagging was silenced by the roar of the engine. The modified car had a lot of horsepower. Once he stepped on the accelerator, he would be able to drive faster than anyone else. There were a lot of bends on this mountain road. Even an experienced driver wouldn't dare to drive too fast. However, not only was Xiang Yi's speed fast, but when she passed the first bend, the car drew a beautiful arc and easily drifted through the bend. Everyone. What the F***CK? Was it drifting? Am I right? Sister E actually knew how to drift? Not only that, the girl also showed off some drifting, straight drifting, pressure jumping, air jumping, tail swinging, side sliding, and other racing techniques. Director Yen clutched his heart tightly, and his expression gradually became dazed. This was called, only knowing a little bit? Chapter 987. Screech, the tires rubbed against the ground and came to a sudden stop. Xiang Yi alighted from the car. Seeing that everyone was silent, she curled her finger guiltily. Did you guys see that I made a mistake when I did the jump just now? I haven't practiced in a long time, so I'm a little rusty. Why don't I do it again? I think I should be able to perform better. Everyone seemed to have woken up from a dream as they looked at Xiang Yi in a different light. Big boss. She's the real big boss. Big boss. She's the real king. Especially the female crew members, their eyes were filled with stars. Indeed, when a girl is handsome, men have nothing to do with her. Seeing that the girl wanted to do it again, Director Yen hurriedly persuaded her. No, no, no. Good. Very good. Very good. Sister E, I didn't expect you to be so good at hiding your skills. You're comparable to a professional racer. Beat up that stunt actor who skipped work. Everyone was speechless. Did that stunt actor skip work because of himself? At the side, Yen Nai's tone was full of admiration as he whispered to himself, "Sister is so impressive, just like an actress in a movie, idiot, she's an actress, alright?" Rong Hui pretended to look at the birds flying in the sky and whistled like a ruffian. He said proudly, "Her driving skills are so-so, not too bad." At this moment, Xiangyi and Director Yan were done talking and walked towards the two of them. Ronghuai, is it convenient for you to lend me your jacket? The arrogant little wolf cub immediately straightened his back. The young man's ears turned red as he stammered, You want to wear my jacket? Xiangyi nodded. Yes, Director Yan changed the script at the last minute. I'm in charge of playing the role of the villain, and the character is rebellious. We think that your style of clothing is more suitable for this role. Sister wants to wear my jacket. Ronghuai felt as if he had drunk 2 kilograms of fake alcohol and was rolling on cotton candy. Xiangyi misunderstood his meaning. It's okay if it's inconvenient. I'm sorry to have put you in a difficult position. She had seen people who were obsessed with cleanliness when she had transmigrated. They couldn't even stand a speck of dust. Therefore, she fully understood that everyone would have different feelings towards the same things. She felt that it did not matter whether Ronghuai lent her the money or not, and she did not think that Ronghuai was in the wrong. Xiangyi, I'll discuss it with the stylist. If it doesn't work, I'll go to the mall and buy one. Before she could finish speaking, Ronghuai hurriedly said, No. I'm not making things difficult for you. I'm willing to borrow it. The youth began to take off his jacket on the spot, and even placed his hand on his black belt. Yan Nai, who was beside him, coughed loudly. Hey, sister is a girl. Be careful. Only then did Ronghuai sober up. The little wolf cub's ears turned red, and it wished it could dig a hole and bury itself in it. What was he doing? He actually unbuckled his belt in front of his sister. Destroy this world. Xiangyi turned around the moment he took off his jacket. She said, The jacket is fine. Thank you. Ronghuai was so embarrassed that he threw his jacket at her and ran away. Pfft. Yan Nai couldn't help but laugh out loud. However, Xiangyi suddenly patted his shoulder. The girl said gently, Well, I'm going to start filming soon. I heard that the two of you have a good relationship. Can you please coax Ronghuai for me? Yan Nai, When he met Xiangyi's gentle and clear eyes, he swallowed the thousands of reasons that were at the tip of his tongue. Okay, I'll listen to you, sister. Chapter 988. In an empty corner. Ronghuai squatted in the corner and pulled up his sweater. He then tightened the rope with a swoosh as the scene of social death replayed in his mind. He actually took off his pants in front of sister, took off his pants. Suddenly, he heard a gentle and obedient voice. Ronghuai, are you all right? Ronghuai looked up and saw that it was Yan Nai. He said arrogantly, What are you doing here? You're a model student. 2 days ago, Yan Nai had received the Model Student Award and happily shared it with him. However, Ronghuai felt that he was showing off. After all, let alone being a good student, he had never even received a positive labor award or a helpful award since he was young. I'm here to coax you, he said matter-of-factly. Ronghuai was dumbfounded. Coax. I'm a man. Do I need this? Yan Nai took out a piece of candy from his pocket. Although he couldn't bear to part with it, he finally made up his mind and handed it to Ronghuai. Here, sister's candy. Have it. Ronghuai was flabbergasted. What the hell? Could it be that this 3-merit student had some inappropriate thoughts about him? Yan Nai smiled, unaware that the little wolf in front of him had already imagined dozens of dramatic scenes, on set. Director Yan confirmed again. Sister E, have you really made up your mind? Xiangyi said, Yes. Director Yan was still a little worried and got the crew to check the car inside and out again to make sure that there were no problems with the accelerator and brakes. We'll get ready to begin then. Director Yan then instructed, If there are any problems, stop immediately. Don't force yourself, got it? In Yan Zhenhua's heart, the movie was important, but human lives were more important. He couldn't do something that only cared about the movie's effects and didn't care about the safety of the actors. Xiangyi adjusted her mask and wig and started the car. After the makeup artist's skillful makeover, she now looked like a thin and rebellious teenager. Her short, flaxen hair accentuated her fair skin, and she leaned her elbows lazily on the steering wheel while tapping rhythmically. Let's try to get this scene done in one take. Is everyone confident? Director Yen began to mobilize them. Everyone at the scene said, of course. Okay. Action. When they heard Director Yan's command, the cars started a chase. Shoot the racing scene first, then edit the scenes inside the car. The effect would be better if they edited it later. The cars used for this scene were not cheap. In the end, one of them had to flip over and another one exploded. It was a test of the budget. Everyone was well aware that there was almost no possibility of a second chance. Other than Xianxia, the other drivers were all stunt performers and had rich experience. Everyone was worried about whether Xianxia could finish this long shot under such high pressure. But what was shocking was that Xianxia made 0 mistakes. Drifting, heel toe, tangent passing, attacking and defending in a roundabout way, jumping in the air, the series of predetermined movements were completed flawlessly. In comparison, it was the special effects actors who made some small mistakes. Schwa, the last scene was when Xiangyi's car stopped in front of the main character's car, forcing him to brake. The rebellious and unruly youth raised his head and whistled nonchalantly. His smile was ruffian and lazy. Then, he extended his middle finger and made an international-friendly gesture. Director Yen shouted, "Cut," and screams of the female staff members instantly erupted from the scene. Ah! Director Yen? Chapter 989. Wait a minute, what was wrong with these young ladies? He could understand why they were screaming at male celebrities, but why were they screaming at Sister E? The assistant director tried to stifle his laughter and said, young ladies nowadays don't necessarily like men. When a female celebrity is handsome, male celebrities will have nothing to do with her. Director Yen looked like he had experienced the vicissitudes of life. I really don't understand the young world anymore. The moment Xianxia got out of the car, she was surrounded by female crew members. Ah, hubby, drink some water. Hubby, are you tired? You must be feeling hot wearing a wig. Let me wipe your sweat for you. Hubby, I have energy bars here. Do you want one to fill your stomach? When Shui arrived at the set, he saw his little bunny being surrounded by everyone. Little bunny was holding a bunch of food and drinks in her arms. There were girls wiping her sweat and holding her drinks. There were even girls who were blowing at her with a small fan. Hubby, can you call me wifey? Boo-hoo, Shui, ? He suspected that there was something wrong with his ears. The next second, he heard his little bunny lowering her voice and switching from a sweet young girl's voice to a lazy young man's. Wifey, what else do you want to hear, huh? Hence, the screams became even louder. Ah, hubby, I love you. Shui? Director Yen seemed to have noticed Shui's confusion and wanted to watch the show. You didn't expect that apart from men, there are also so many female rivals in love. Shui smiled. Rivals in love are just rivals in love. They only have one boyfriend. Director Yen, who used to treat Xianxia as his daughter-in-law, felt inexplicably stifled. He changed the topic. Why are you so late? Weren't you always the Amma Rock when Sister E was filming? Shui said casually, I was dealing with the garbage. Oh, you're quite particular. But garbage sorting is very important. I'm preparing to shoot an environmental documentary after this film. Let me tell you, environmental protection is too important, Director Yen kept nagging. Shui lazily took out a lollipop. In this movie, his character had a smoking scene, and his addiction to smoking was aroused again. In order to quit smoking, Xianxia prepared a lollipop for him. After talking for a while, Director Yan's throat was dry. He picked up the thermos and drank some water. Puzzled, he asked, how long have you taken out this candy? Why aren't you eating it? Is it scalding your mouth? Shui smiled without saying anything. Coincidentally, Xianxia walked over. She still had the appearance of a rebellious youth, but her temperament and eyes were completely different. She was rebellious and unruly in the drama, but now, she was gentle and soft. Shurj pitiful, Sui, Sister E, can't open it. Director Yen was speechless. Let me. Xianxia held the bottom of the bag and squeezed it hard. The bag made a bang and the seal opened automatically. The girl smiled and put the candy into his mouth. Is it sweet? Director Yen was speechless. He had lost. He had lost. He knew Shui was a dog, but he didn't expect Shui to be such a dog. Director Yen walked away silently. He didn't know if the lollipop was sweet or not, but he was already full of dog food. He habitually took out his phone. When he saw Xianxia being accused of acting like a diva, Director Yen frowned. How dare they slander Sister E? Sister E almost became his daughter-in-law. Rounding it up, he was Sister Yi's father. Just wait, haters, your daddy fan is here. Smiley face. Chapter 990. On the internet, the netizens who were surfing the internet felt that today's drama was a little boring. There was no solid evidence at all. They really wanted to see a drama with solid evidence. It would be best if it was something like Thor's hammer. Then, the fool came. Someone saw the Weibo account of the stuntman and quickly tagged the gossip account. After being reposted by several entertainment celebrities, the post appeared on the homepage of countless people. All of a sudden, there was a huge uproar. Damn, he ruined Xianxia. He's even holding a knife? Ah, what happened to Sister E? Did the production team call the police? Huh. So it's not that Sister E is throwing her weight around and chasing him away, but that stuntman is the one who's problematic. Of course, there were also people who were still trying to defame Xianxia. No matter what, it's an indisputable fact that the stuntman has caused losses to the production team, right? He might just have posted something on Weibo. He might not have really done anything. Can't he just say it? He's affected the progress of the production team and caused major losses. How can he clear his name? How can he chase someone away just because of a Weibo post? If this isn't throwing her weight around, what is it? It's just like how someone calls Shui her husband on Weibo. Does Xianxia have the right to think that the other party is a homewrecker? The Weibo posts made the Shui sisters fly into a rage. Even Spicy Tutu, who had always been passive, couldn't take it anymore. Even a rabbit would bite when it was cornered. Hence, on this day, the entire fanbase witnessed Spicy Tutu's combat prowess. She presented facts, reasoned with them, gave examples, wrote jokes, sang raps, created emoticons, and compared them in Chinese, English, French, and other languages. It could be said that there was a storm of blood on the internet, and the fans were dumbfounded. It was as if Tutu had gone to war and left no survivors. Even Shui sisters were stunned. Are they still the same bunch of rabbits who can't even be bothered to vote? How can they be so fierce? I suddenly feel that Shui isn't the only one who can't do it, neither can Shui sisters. Spicy Tutu's anger shut those haters up. What really changed the public opinion was Director Yan's Weibo post. As a famous director in the country, he also liked to use Weibo. He also had millions of fans on Weibo, which was more than some of the B-list and B-list celebrities. Yan Zhenhua v. To clarify 2 points. First, Sister E did not put on airs. Second, Sister E did not cause any losses to the crew. Also, today, I found out that Sister E knows a little flying car stunt. I want to share it with everyone. I hope you like it. Yan Zhenhua had uploaded a video of Xianxia's first test drive. There wasn't much of a storyline, and the shots were the most ordinary shots. However, Xianxia's racing skills were already amazing. The netizens were speechless. You call this a little bit? It's clearly 100 million dots. F***CK? So Sister E also has racing skills? Is there anything Sister E can't do? Ha ha ha, I can hear the girls screaming at the scene, and some are even calling for their hubby. They're practically shouting my heart out. My husband is so handsome. The official fan clubs and fans of Xianxia's who were competing with her also gave instructions. They could provoke anyone except Xianxia. This wave of face slaps that could be described as lightning speed made the netizens play a joke. Magical girl Xiang Yi had the glorious beauty halo, the team pet halo, and the 100% face slapping halo. Her talent skills were as follows: God of Cooking LV, 999, Medical Sage LV, 999, Art LV, 999, Sports LV, 999, Force LV, 999. In short, she was a max-level big shot. Chapter 991. After the post was posted on Weibo, Xiangyi's fans went into another frenzy. Previously, most of them were foodie fans, sister fans, and mommy fans, but this time, they were all girlfriend fans and wifey fans. There were even many popular fans who rebelled on the spot and went to Spicy Tudu's house. The comments under Xiangyi's Weibo had also changed. Sister E is so cute. Brother E is so handsome. What should I do? Sister E or Brother E are confessing to me at the same time. Waiting online, it's urgent. My wife is Sister E, and my husband is Brother E. I'm so blessed. Good night, Xiang Yi. Good night, hubby. Jumping between mommy fans and wifey fans without any obstacles. However, before the first wave subsided, another wave arose. Just as Xiangyi was crazily gaining fans, someone suddenly exposed a huge piece of news on the internet. Hashtag Shui is cheating. Hashtag when the netizens saw this trending topic, they immediately jumped up and down like bees in a melon field. The programmers of Weibo's technical department all received a call, asking them to immediately prepare for server maintenance no matter where they were. The netizens clicked on the trending topic and found that someone had uploaded a photo. Recycled star, sob 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 sob. The attached photo was a group photo of the tall and burly Shui talking to a thin young man. The two of them formed the most adorable height difference, and at first glance, it was quite pleasing to the eye. However, the netizens were all in an uproar. Cheating? Shui, you're heartless. There are no more CP fans. Damn it, Shui, you scumbag. I heard that a house had collapsed, so I wanted to come over and take a look. I didn't expect it to be my house that had collapsed. Smile, although this young man only has a side profile, I think he's really good looking. His face is definitely not inferior to Sister Yi's. My heart aches for Sister E. There was chaos on Weibo. Some people were crying, some were gloating, and some were munching on melon seeds to watch the fun. Until someone suddenly discovered a blind spot. Well, don't you think that this young man's figure is similar to Sister Yi's? The lines on his side profile are also similar. This guess immediately made the netizens come up with even more ideas. Brain hole 1, this is Shuri's true love, the white moonlight. Sister E was just a substitute. He was just a substitute. Brain hole 2, someone deliberately found a boy who looked like Xiangyi to frame Shuri. It was just a publicity stunt. Brain hole 3, Xiangyi has always been a man dressed as a woman. She is not she, but he. But this time, he accidentally exposed his true gender. It's just the truth. There was also brainstorming 4, brainstorming 5. By the time Xiangyi and Shui heard about Nan, the netizens were already imagining that the two of them had been possessed by aliens and that they were about to infect all of humanity with the virus in the next second. Then, aliens would rule the earth. In the video call, Nan shrugged. That's pretty much it. Si Chuanbai, who was beside him, rubbed the space between his eyebrows. The trending topic has been removed. Do you need the company to make a statement? Nan asked, do you want to make a statement that the two of them aren't aliens? Xiangyi, question mark. Shui, question mark. Si Chuanbai adjusted his glasses. The gold medal manager who had always been strict and indifferent had learned how to flatter. That's a good idea. It's worth learning from. Really? Nan said embarrassedly, it's not that impressive. If it can help you, Mr. C, that would be great. Xiangyi, she silently hung up the video call. Chapter 992. As soon as Xiangyi hung up the video call, Director Yen hurriedly rushed over. Sister E, why don't I post the video of you racing in men's clothing? Otherwise, the netizens will misunderstand. What kind of messy trending topic is this? Xianxia shook her head. No need, Director Yen. If you post another video, it will be considered a spoiler and affect the audience's viewing experience. This, Director Yen was a little moved. The young lady had already been scolded to such an extent, yet she was still thinking about the viewing experience. Why doesn't my disappointing son know how to abduct Xiangyi home? I've thought of a solution, but I need your help. Xiangyi said the second half of the sentence to Shui. A certain Shui chuckled. My pleasure, Your Highness. Director Yen was speechless. Forget it, do as you see fit. If you need me to post a video, just let me know. I'll go see how the set is going. He wasn't going to take this public display of affection. A few minutes later, Xiangyi updated her Weibo with a new post. Xiangyi V, I'm doing a live stream on Xingchen TV. Click on the link and join my live stream link. The netizens were shocked. Sister E was going to start a live stream? In an instant, everyone clicked on the live stream and called their friends. The number of viewers in the live stream exceeded 1 million in minutes. The page jumped and Xiangyi's face appeared on the screen. However, the camera was pointed at the girl's chin from a devilish angle. But even at such an angle, the lines of her chin were still impeccable. A magnetic and flirtatious chuckle crashed into everyone's ears, causing them to tremble. Shui was actually there too. Put your phone here. Shui placed Xiangyi's phone on the stand and zoomed out to capture Xiangyi's upper body. Wait a minute, why wasn't it Sister E but a boy? The netizens looked at the short-haired young man on the screen in confusion. What the F***CK? Is Shui provoking everyone? This is too much. Sister E is such a good person, but you actually cheated on her. Oh no, it's the feeling of being moved. This little brother is so good-looking, and his eyebrows and eyes are so similar to Sister Yi's. If I were Shuringdi, I wouldn't be able to resist either. The next second, the short-haired boy waved his hand at the crowd and smiled, revealing his dimples. Long time no see. I'm Xiangyi. This familiar soft and gentle voice, the netizens. Some netizens trembled and asked uncertainly, Are you Sister E? Xiangyi replied, It's me. She lifted a corner of her wig to prove her identity. This wig is for acting. I made a cameo appearance as a boy in Night is Coming. Xiangyi leaned closer to the screen. Her fair, porcelain-like skin was so delicate that it could be broken by a blow. She smiled and asked, Do I look good in men's clothing? The live stream was silent for 2 seconds, and then the bullet screen was flooded with comments. Aw, hubby. So he didn't cheat at all, and Sister E is just in men's clothing? I'm dead, wifey. Oh no, hubby, don't come so close. I can't breathe. Xiangyi was a little embarrassed by the compliments. I feel a little weird in men's clothing, I'd better take off the wig. At this moment, the bullet screen reached an astonishing level of unity. Hubby, no. I won't allow it. Xiangyi blinked and thought of something. She lowered her voice and said lazily, Okay, wifey, and so, the bullet screen became even crazier. Chapter 993. Sob, hubby. Sister E, I can dress as a man. I don't care, Sister E is calling me wife. As for Shui, he was ignored by the netizens. The man folded his arms and glanced at the comments from time to time, feeling a little jealous. He took out his cell phone and sent a message to Sichuanbai. What if your girlfriend is more popular than me? After a long time, Sichuanbai finally replied, You only found out now? Shui was dumbfounded. A certain best actor, who was indignant about being ignored, decided to be a little impulsive. He covered his lips with his slender fingers and coughed twice. As expected, Xiangyi's attention was immediately attracted and she couldn't be bothered to interact with the netizens. She turned around and asked with concern, Are you all right? It's just, my throat feels a little uncomfortable. Shui coughed a few more times and said weakly, I'm sorry to have affected you, no way. Wait here, I'll go get you some lozenges and syrup. The girl got up to look for the medicine while Shui's lips curled into a smile. Xiangyi didn't see his smile, but the netizens watching the live stream could see it clearly. Shui is the most shameless of the family of 4. Little Shiji is just a younger brother to you. The dragon's well of the mortal world is Sui, a little Sui. Shui wasn't annoyed and instead said with a smirk, everyone, you're flattering me. Everyone was speechless. They were shocked. Has a certain best actor become so thick-skinned? Seeing that he was in a good mood, the fans mustered up the courage to ask him all sorts of questions. Ever since Shui debuted, he had never accepted any interview or variety shows. Apart from the publicity period for his works, he had been in a state of seclusion for the rest of the time. His fans were looking forward to interacting with him, but they didn't have the chance to. Shui answered almost all of their questions today. What's the experience of filming a movie? During the process of making a movie, there were both beautiful and torturous moments. But when I see my character appear on the big screen, it is indeed a very fulfilling thing. Wedding date? I've lived for 27 years, and I've never been urged to get married by my family. You guys are actually urging me to get married. Baby's name? Oh, the name you came up with is not bad. I'll keep it for future use. When Xiangyi came over with the medical kit, she happened to hear Shui say, hobby? Does chasing stars count? But when the netizens asked who he was chasing, Shui just smiled and said nothing. Xiangyi sat down beside him and asked curiously, chasing after idols? Who are you chasing? Shui, it's a secret. Oh, Xiangyi had never liked to pry into other people's privacy. She took out a bottle of throat lozenges from the medical kit. Here, take one of these if your throat is uncomfortable. Remember to drink more water. Also, take this medicine 3 times a day. If it's loquat syrup, don't drink water for half an hour after you finish it. You've been too tired recently. After you're done with work, you must stay in bed and rest for the next few days. Drink more hot water to promote your body's metabolism. The viewers of the live stream immediately went into a frenzy. 3 times? Isn't that too little? Dog head, resting in bed alone is not as effective as resting in bed with 2 people. Why drink hot water? Sister E is feeding the medicine with her saliva. Please unlock the paid content immediately. After Xiangyi gave her instructions, she wanted to take a look at the comments on her phone, but Shui covered her eyes. Huh? The girl was puzzled. Shui said calmly, it's not suitable for children. I see. Xiangyi whispered. But now that you mention it, I want to see it even more. I want to see how inappropriate it is. Chapter 994. Shui was speechless for a moment. The tips of Xiangyi's ears turned slightly red. I'll just take a look, just one look. The netizens in the live stream were about to die of laughter. Sister E wants to see it, right? Sure, I'll give you a few lines. Woo, Zai is being naughty, mommy won't allow it. F***ck, I'm laughing my head off. What kind of immortal cutie is Sister E? Do you really want to see it? Shui asked with raised eyebrows. Yeah. The netizens rubbed their palms together and placed their fingers on the keyboard, ready to give Xiangyi a few lines at any time. To their surprise, Shui smiled and leaned closer to the girl's fair earlobe. I'll read it to you then. The netizens were dumbfounded. He lowered his voice and read the comments in a decibel that only the 2 of them could hear. The netizens watched helplessly as Xiangyi's ears turned from slightly red to tomato red, and then the crimson color spread to her slender neck and small face. The netizens were speechless. A dog is a dog after all, I'm convinced. After reading a few lines, Xiangyi's head was burning up and she exclaimed, that's enough. That's all? Shui clicked his tongue and said in a lazy tone, let's continue next time. Xiangyi pushed his hand away and said with a red face, hurry up and take your medicine. She did it on purpose, but her throat was really sore. Shui got up to get some water. The misunderstanding had been cleared, and #Shui cheating hashtag was no longer trending. Instead, it was replaced by #Xianxia in men's clothing hashtag, which had already jumped to the top 5. Xianxia chatted with the netizens for a while and was ready to wrap things up. That's all for today's live stream. Buzz, Shui's cell phone, which was left on the table, rang. Xianxia said, "It's a call for you." Shui said without turning his head, "Answer it for me." Oh. Xianxia saw that the caller ID showed the words, "Housekeeping Service." Without thinking much, she answered the call. Her finger accidentally touched the hands-free button, and before she could turn it off, a man's enthusiastic voice came from the receiver. "Sir, the Sister East signage, poster, postcard, and pillow that you ordered. I'll send you upwind delivery this time, right?" Xianxia. Shui. "Okay, thank you for your hard work," Xianxia replied calmly. I'll deliver it now. If you need in the future, I guarantee I'll give you the best quality products to sister. By the way, are you using? Ha, your voice sounds so much like Xianxia's. As expected of Xianxia's diehard fan, Bunny's husband. Shui strode over and hung up the phone. Shui said without changing his expression, "I can explain." The hand that was actually holding the water trembled slightly, revealing his emotions. "Well." Xianxia pointed at the cell phone on the stand. "I haven't turned off the live stream yet." With a loud splash, the water in Shui's hand was spilled all over. The screen of the live stream went black. The netizens went crazy. Could the star that Shurindi is chasing after be Xianxia? "Hey, buddy, look at what I found. I really found the Weibo account, Tutu's hubby. The content on Weibo is all about Sister Yi's likes, comments, reposts, and votes. She's definitely the #1 fan." Ha, Shui, you've exposed yourself. You're even wooing your own wife after seeing yourself as a couple. Awesome. Really awesome. Chapter 995. On Weibo. Shui was at the top of the trending searches. #I'm chasing my wife hashtag was at the top of the trending searches for an entire day. His post on Weibo, Tutu's husband, was also shared by netizens. It was like a public execution. For example, Tutu's husband, "I like Tutu so much." Tutu's husband, "Are you going to criticize me again? Do you think I'm dead?" Tutu's husband, "Every day with Tutu is beautiful. Sunny days are beautiful, cloudy days are beautiful, and rainy days are beautiful too. Because it's Tutu, everything is just right." While the netizens were laughing, they were also genuinely jealous. "Whoa, it's too untimely, isn't it too sweet?" Shui is secretly using a fake account to chase after his wife. In reality, the scene was very awkward. Xianxia stared at Shui. Shui avoided her gaze. The girl asked uncertainly, "So, the celebrity you're chasing after, is me?" Shui stuffed a mint-flavored throat candy into his mouth, indicating that it was not convenient for him to speak. It could be said that he was really deceiving himself. Xianxia took out her cell phone and pretended to search for Weibo. "Then I'll search for it myself." The next second, the man snatched her cell phone away. Xianxia said calmly, "Why? Are you shy?" Shui mumbled, No. "Really?" Shui stopped talking. The man put one hand in his pocket and looked at the sky and the ground, but he did not look at Xianxia. Xianxia only found it funny. The girl tiptoed and the warmth of her breath fell on the man's clean and obvious collarbone. "Boyfriend. I didn't know you had such a childish side." Shui's eyes darkened and his Adam's apple bobbed twice. He still looked serious and abstinent. "It's time for me to go and film." The man left with large strides. His back was still straight, and his demeanor was still elegant. However, his back view looked like he was fleeing. 2 months later. Director Yan's filming progress was steady, and the pace of filming was very smooth. Moreover, as an experienced director, he put the scenes with strong emotions at the back of the film. After 2 months of training, everyone's acting skills improved by leaps and bounds, especially Yan Nai and Rong Huai. In the end, the roles that the two of them played in the drama turned evil. The female doctor gave them a temporary warmth, but she could not really cure them. The two of them relied on the priest's hints and advanced step by step. First, they sent the female doctor away. Then, they put a lethal amount of drugs into the ventilation system of the mental hospital. The drug was spread to every room in the hospital. Other than the female doctor, everyone else in the hospital had died from the injuries sustained by the two teenagers. Their last scene was to set the entire mental hospital on fire. However, the female doctor found out. The two of them panicked at first, then looked at each other and became completely evil. "Sister, no one in this mental hospital is innocent." The rebellious young man smiled. "They all deserve it." The depressed young man's eyes were sinister. "Sister, if you run faster, we might consider letting you off." The two of them approached the female doctor step by step. The female doctor did not take a step back. She looked at the two of them quietly as a teardrop rolled down her cheek. Police sirens came from all directions and the two of them panicked. They were like headless flies, not knowing where to run. "Run to the west." The female doctor's voice was very soft. She put a candy in their hands and said with reddened eyes, "If possible, run as far as you can." The two of them hesitated for a moment before running away and disappearing into the dark wilderness. Cut. That's it. Congratulations to Rong Huai and Yan Nai. Chapter 996. No one said a word. After a long time, Yan Nai sobbed softly. It was as if a switch had been turned on as many emotional staff members began to wipe their tears. "Hey, what's there to cry about? You're just so pretentious." Rong Huai complained as his eyes turned red. They had been filming together for more than 2 months and had experienced the joys and sorrows of the characters together. It would be a lie to say that he was not moved. Suddenly, Rong Huai felt a gentle pat on his shoulder. He turned his face and met the gentle smile of a young girl. "Here, the spicy strips that you two want to eat." "Who wants to eat this kind of junk food?" Rong Huai said awkwardly, but his nose felt even more sour. He had only asked Yan Nai what spicy strips tasted like previously. Yan Nai said that he did not know either. Yan Nai's mother was very strict and did not allow him to eat snacks since he was a child. Rong Huai had never been interested in these things since he was a child, but he was curious now that he was older. Xianxia was also present at that time and smiled and said that she would make some for them to try. Unexpectedly, Xianxia remembered it. She really made some for them. The young girl bought the snacks in small packages and gave them all to the two of them. "Try it. If you like it, I'll make something else for you next time." Yan Nai could no longer hold it in as he sobbed softly and cried pitifully. Rong Huai gripped the vacuum bag so tightly that the veins on the back of his hand bulged. He was slow to get into character, but he was very immersed in it. Subconsciously, he had already equated Xianxia with the female doctor in the drama. She was so gentle. Would there be a place for him in her heart? He did not want too much. Just a little would do. However, Shui's appearance shattered his fantasy. The man had a furry fleece jacket on his arm and 2 cute rabbit ears on his hat. He put the jacket on Xianxi's shoulders and asked softly, "How do you feel?" Xianxia chuckled and said, "Don't worry, I'll get out of character very quickly." The speed at which the two of them got into character was probably the fastest in the industry. They were emotional in the drama, but they were calm outside the drama. A look of disappointment flashed past Rong Huai's eyes. The little wolf cub still did not know how to hide it, so Shui easily discovered his abnormality. The man raised his eyebrows, but he didn't say anything to save his face. His slender and powerful hands were clasped tightly around Xianxi's slender waist, declaring his strong possessiveness. Rong Huai's eyes gradually dimmed. Seeing this, Director Yan sighed silently. He loved her, she loved him, he loved her to make her love him. The word love could be said to be a calamity. Many people were unable to escape this calamity. Following that, every day, there would be actors completing their scenes. One by one, the big shots handed in their perfect acting skills. Each scene was more and more intense than the previous one. The pace of everyone turning evil was getting more and more sensational. That ray of justice was getting weaker and weaker, but from start to finish, they never gave up. Everyone had a feeling that even if this movie didn't explode at the box office, it would definitely win a lot of awards. Tomorrow is the last scene of the movie. In the wee hours of the morning, before the set wrapped up, Director Yen said earnestly, "Sure Sui and Sister E must have a good rest tonight. Also, are you guys confident?" There was a feeble response from the set. Sure Sui nodded slightly. Xianxia smiled and said, "After work tomorrow, I'll treat everyone to a meal." Wow! There were cheers at the set, and the originally depressed mood was instantly stirred up. Director Yen was dumbfounded. "You guys must be the atmosphere team that Sister E hired." Chapter 997. It was late at night. In the corridor of the hotel, Nan and Si Chuanbai were delivering supper to their artists. "Mr. Si, do you think it's appropriate for me to deliver supper to little darling?" Nan's hands were empty. In contrast, Si Chuanbai's hands were full of bags. The man said calmly, "It's a good thing to avoid arousing suspicion. Let's deliver it to Sure Sui first, then let him deliver it to Sister E. Or perhaps we can deliver it to Sister E together." Wow! Mr. C is so thoughtful. Boo-hoo, Mr. C, you're so good at it. This little colorful guy's bootlicking was really, one would never get tired of hearing it. The corners of Si Chuanbai's lips curled up subconsciously. He had Sure Sui's keycard and had informed him in advance. When he arrived at the door, he knocked twice and swiped the card to enter. Sure Sui was sitting on the single-seater sofa by the floor-to-ceiling window, his long legs crossed as he lazily flipped through the script. He had already flipped through a few pages of the book to the brim. "Eat something first." "Don't worry, we only bought bland food." Si Chuanbai placed 2 large bags on the coffee table. Sure Sui looked up. His black hair had been grown long for the sake of the plot. His hair was loose and covered his eyes, making him look like a model from a Japanese magazine. "Have you delivered it to her?" "Not yet." Nan raised his hand. "Then let's deliver it to little darling together." Sure Sui slowly closed the script. Although he was smiling, his smile was extremely cold. "What did you call her?" Sure Sui's aura was strong and overwhelming. Nan couldn't withstand it at all and changed his words. "Sister E," Sure Sui restrained himself and said gently, "Only I can call her little darling from now on." Nan's eyes lit up. Sure Sui is so manly and protective of his wife. Si Chuanbai pressed his forehead, but his thoughts were, Sure Sui was becoming more and more like a primary school student. The 3 of them carried the takeout bags and went to look for Xianxia. The doorbell rang a few times, followed by the sound of footsteps. Xianxia opened the door with the script in her hands. She seemed to be thinking about tomorrow's scenes. Nan was stunned for a moment. Only then did he realize that both Sure Sui and Xianxia had top-notch talents among their peers, but they still worked very, very hard. Also, Mr. C had to deal with so many things every day and had to help him from time to time. Nan was ashamed. He clenched his fists and swore to himself that he could no longer rely on Mr. C. He would work hard to become an independent manager. Ollie for Nan. By the time Nan came back to his senses, he realized that Xianxia and the others had already been chatting about the script for a while, and the topic had even shifted to him. Xianxia asked, Nan, do you have someone you like?" Nan nodded vigorously. Yes. N? Si Chuanbai's gaze fell on him, staring at him without blinking. Then, Nan said excitedly, "It has to be Diga." Si Chuanbai, ? This name sounded strangely familiar. Could it be that they both knew each other? Xianxia hesitated for 2 seconds and asked uncertainly, "Are you talking about Ultraman Diga?" "Yes, yes. Diga is so handsome. Tyler, Ace, Leo, none of them can compare to Diga. In the words of the fandom, our brother Diga is the best. The other Ultraman brothers don't take cues and ride on his popularity." Si Chuanbai was speechless. For a moment, he couldn't tell if he was happy or sad. Chapter 998. Si Chuanbai didn't know whether to laugh or cry. He was dejected. Shui and Xianxia, on the other hand, were having a hard time trying to hold back their laughter. Judging from Nan's carefree attitude, Si Chuanbai would probably have a hard time in the future. Nan said a lot about Ultraman before he realized that something was wrong. He said embarrassedly, "Am I talking too much?" "No, you're not." Xianxia tried to smooth things over. "I think your passionate feelings are similar to the feelings a female doctor has for a pastor." Shui shook her head. "No, I think the pastor is the one who is passionate about the female doctor. He's just pretending." The two of them had different understandings of the script and different perspectives, so they started to discuss it. Si Chuanbai and Nan each expressed their own opinions, and it was much smoother. The next day, at a church. The film crew had rented a church for the day, so they had already cleared the place. Shui and Xianxia came to the set after getting their hair and makeup done. Director Yen said, "I won't talk about the last scene because I think it will restrict you. You're free to act according to your own interpretation of the script." As soon as he finished speaking, there was an uproar. Director Yen, who had a very high control over the script, actually wanted the two of them to act by themselves. To be honest, it was difficult to write a composition with a topic, but sometimes, it was even more difficult to write a composition without a topic. Similarly, it was the same for acting. With the director talking about the script, it was equivalent to giving the actors a direction. On the other hand, it depended on the actor's own understanding and ability. Shui and Xianxia both expressed that they had no objections. "Then let's begin." Director Yen took a deep breath, and the entire crew became nervous. The morning light shone on the glass windows of the church, giving them a faint layer of gold. The obedient-looking children were singing hymns against the light. Their tender voices sounded like angels descending. Pure white roses were everywhere in the church. Large patches of them symbolized the purest image, and a flower of sin bloomed in the most sacred place. The female doctor walked in. She quietly listened to the children singing. Unknowingly, a young man had appeared beside him. The priest's messy black hair was tied up with a rubber band and tucked to the back, revealing his clean and full forehead. His face was incomparably handsome, and his temperament was gentle and refined. However, he was the biggest villain in the drama. "Have you come to say goodbye to me?" he asked softly. With the sound of nature in the background, the female doctor replied, "I'm here to end it all." The priest was silent for a moment before he said, "Some things can't be stopped once they start." "Then, are you willing to stop for me?" After saying that, the female doctor laughed at herself. "Sorry, I said something strange again." The priest's eyes darkened, and he unconsciously tightened his grip on the white rose in his hand. The thorns pierced his fingertips, and red blood dripped down, staining the petals. The sound of sirens came from afar. The priest's expression did not change. The female doctor said, "I was the one who called the police." The priest's voice was almost gentle. "Yes, I know." "Then, let's stop here." The female doctor stood up, and the priest followed her back. His eyes were filled with infatuation, devotion, and madness. There was also deep affection. The female doctor looked at the camera, gently stroked her hair, and the corners of her lips curled up slightly. A meaningful smile appeared on his face. All the crew members at the scene instantly had goosebumps. Even Director Yen had forgotten to shout, "Cut!" Chapter 999. After a long time, it was only after Xianxi's reminder that everyone regained their senses. "Director? Is it okay this time?" Xianxia asked gently. The scene just now was the result of a conversation with Ah Nan and Si Chuanbai last night. The female doctor was a little white flower in the flower of evil. But who could be sure that the little white flower was not a man-eating flower in disguise? That was why she smiled at the camera at the end. Director Yen came to his senses and said in a trembling voice, Wait a minute, let me see the replay. The cameraman was trembling as he adjusted the equipment. He had not recovered from the shock just now. On the screen, every line of the priest and the female doctor was metaphorical and had a deeper meaning. But the real finishing touch was the female doctor's smile at the end. All of a sudden, the script of the entire movie was overturned. Just when the audience thought that the mystery had been solved, there was a huge reversal. Imagine, it was already so shocking on set. If it was in a dark movie theater with a huge screen and post-production, how grand would it be? Director Yen did not say anything after watching the replay. Shui said, Why don't we do another scene? That way, we can compare which scene is better. Director Yen was silent for a while and started smoking. He smoked a total of 6 cigarettes. The staff on set also anxiously waited for 6 cigarettes with him. In the end, Director Yen decided. No need, we'll do this. The scene was silent for a few seconds before cheering. Everyone was looking forward to it. It was both the peak of their acting skills and the peak of the plot's reversal. Director Yen looked at everyone laughing and started laughing as well. He wasn't a young and inexperienced director. He couldn't be any clearer about how shocking the artistic effects of that scene were. Just as he was about to sigh, someone asked loudly, Director, is our crew done filming? Yes, it's done. Everyone has worked hard. I'll give you a red packet later. Before Director Yen could finish his words, he heard everyone talking at once. Sister E, what are we eating? Hubby, I found a delicious milk tea. Do you want to try it? Darling, do you want to cook later? Mommy will cook for you. Our child's hands must be protected. Director Yen, ? Where? Was the attractiveness of a red packet not as important as a meal? Someone tugged at his sleeve. It was his silly son. He swallowed his saliva and urged him, Dad, can you talk to Sister E later and give me an extra bowl of rice through the back door, Director Yen? Son, this is the first time you've ever begged your father for an extra bowl of food cooked by Sister E? Can you be a little more mature? At the center of the crowd was a smiling girl. Her tone was gentle and harmless. Our pets, Little Black, Little White, and Little Flower, are all anemic, so we killed them all. We'll bring them over later for everyone's wrap party. In an instant, the sound of people swallowing their saliva rang out one after another. Even Director Yen sternly said, Yen Nai, go and grab food for Dad later. If you can't get it, you'll recognize me as your father. If you can't get it, you can go hug Sister Yi's thigh and cry. Or you can take the bowl and beg for it. Do you understand? Yen Nai, ha. Rong Huai, who was at the side, burst into laughter. He immediately understood Director Yan's arrangement. Son, go and bring your brother Rong along. Rong Huai. The scene was filled with cheers and laughter, and everyone was happy and harmonious. In the corner, Xiangyi and Shui were holding hands. Shui said softly, I hope the story in the movie will never happen. Xiangyi looked out of the window, her slender figure bathed in the sunlight. If it does happen, I hope that everyone in that story will make different choices and have a happy ending. The two of them looked at each other and smiled. They held each other's hands and interlocked their fingers. The movie segment ended. Next trailer, family segment. Good night. Chapter 1000. It had been a week since the filming of Night is Coming wrapped up. For many of the crew members, the memory of that night was still vivid in their minds. There was no other reason. It was because the anemic Little Black, Little White, and Little White were roasted, braised, and stir-fried. It was simply too delicious. Shui had too many endorsements and jobs piled up, so she was busy dealing with work this week. As for Xiangyi, her happy vacation had already begun. At the Xiang family's old residence, Xianxia wore cute strawberry scald-resistant gloves and opened the oven. A row of sweet and crispy egg tarts was emitting a fragrant aroma. The girl placed the egg tarts and cranberry pastries on a plate, brewed a pot of honey peach oolong tea, and brought it to the table in the courtyard. "Grandma, did Uncle really say he would bring Auntie back?" Xianxia put down the wooden tray and looked out curiously. "I hope so. Even if she's not his girlfriend, it's fine to bring a female friend back. If that doesn't work, a male friend is fine too." Madame Xiang took a sip of tea. She looked calm, but in fact, her fingers were constantly twirling the prayer beads. Before she finished speaking, a familiar devilish laughter sounded from outside the fence. "Ha ha ha, Song Song, our pomegranates are ripe. I'll go up and pick them for you." A sweet voice sounded, "Don't, it's too dangerous." "It's fine, it's not dangerous, it's not dangerous. I'm really good at climbing trees. And super fast too," Xiang Feng said as he climbed up the tree in his suit jacket and leather shoes. After carefully picking out 2 large and red pomegranates, he shouted, "Song Song, take these." "Song Qiu." In the courtyard, Xiangxia and Madame Xiang simultaneously thought of the same word, danger. Xiang Feng deliberately aimed at Song Qiu and threw the grenades. Bang! One of the pomegranates hit Song Qiu's head, while the other hit Song Qiu's chest. The impact was so great that Song Qiu sat on the ground in a sorry state. Xiangxia and Madame Xiang held their foreheads in unison. Xiang Feng, who was on the tree, hurriedly called out, "Song Song." Xiangxia put her hands together, praying that her little uncle could speak human language. Then, she heard her little uncle speak the words of a universal steel man, "You're not dead? Song Qiu." She slowly raised her head and met Xiang Feng's overjoyed face. "Song Song, you're still alive." Song Qiu told herself to endure it. She must endure it. She smiled. "Yes, you can come down. Xiang Feng, no rush, I'll pick a few more for you. You're already here." Song Qiu felt like uprooting the pomegranate tree. Seeing this, Xiangxia hurriedly went out to greet him. "Sister Song, it's been a long time." Song Qiu had a baby face. Wearing a sweet pink cardigan and a white dress, she looked much younger than her actual age. Tutu. Song Qiu was surprised and happy. She gave Xiangxia a big hug, her eyes sparkling. "Can I pinch your face?" "Can I?" Xiangxia said helplessly, "Sister Song, I'm already 21 years old." The next second, her cheeks were pinched, and both of them were pinched at the same time. Xiangxia, "Oh, degree asterisk. Oh, at this moment, Xiang Feng's voice came from above. "Little Xiangxia, move to the side. Don't disturb our Song from picking pomegranates." Xiangxia looked up and saw that Xiang Feng had picked a bunch of pomegranates and was holding them in his suit jacket, smiling honestly. Xiangxia asked cautiously, "Sister Song, did you really come back with my little uncle willingly?" Chapter 1001. Song Qiu revealed a smile that was uglier than crying. Yes, right? If there was a word to describe her current mood, it would be regret. Too much regret. She was 28 years old this year. Her family was urging her to get married, so she had no choice but to think of a fake marriage. Of course, before they got married, they had to sign a contract. They would only be husband and wife in name. Xiang Feng and she were childhood friends. When they were young, they even bathed together naked and played with ducks. Song Qiu felt that Xiang Feng was the most suitable candidate for the fake marriage. When she proposed a fake marriage to Xiang Feng, she originally thought that Xiang Feng would hesitate. She didn't expect him to agree after only 1 second. 1 second. Song Qiu wondered if there was something wrong with his hearing. Now, Song Qiu didn't think so. She felt that there was something wrong with Xiang Feng. Rage points accumulated, 50%. Song Qiuqiu smiled virtuously and sweetly. Feng Feng, throw it. I'll catch it. Xiangyi persuaded, Sister Song, let me do it, it's okay. She had chosen the fake marriage partner, so she had to accept it even if he had to kneel. Come on. Ah. Song Qiuqiu screamed as the pomegranate hit her arm. Xiangyi's mouth twitched. She desperately gestured to her little uncle. You can throw it on the lawn. Don't throw it all at Sister Song. But Xiang Feng was a little short-sighted, and he had climbed high. He misunderstood Xiangyi's waving hand as cheering for him. Good. You're indeed my little niece. You're too loyal to your uncle. Xiang Feng's blood rushed to his head, and he threw it faster and more accurately. Song Song, you can do it. You have to challenge yourself and defeat yourself. This little difficulty in front of you is nothing. As long as you work hard, you can definitely catch the pomegranate. In the courtyard, Madame Xiang broke her prayer beads on the spot. What kind of thing did she give birth to? It was better to have a piece of barbecued pork. Song Qiuqiu, a socialite's daughter, was smashed by a pomegranate for a long time. That scene made those who heard it sad and those who heard it cry. Finally, Song Qiuqiu caught a pomegranate. Xiang Feng slid down the tree and applauded her happily. Song Song, you did it. You really did it. Song Qiuqiu put on a fake smile. Feng Feng, let's play a game. What game? Dido, pomegranate. Under Xiang Feng's puzzled gaze, Song Qiuqiu swung his arm and threw the pomegranate in his hand. Clang! It hit him squarely in the face. Xiang Feng fell straight to the ground, as if he was about to faint from the impact. Xiangyi, Madame Xiang, Song Qiuqiu straightened out her wrinkle-free dress and smiled sweetly. Oh, I'm sorry, I was too strong, it's okay. Xiang Feng struggled to sit up. I just like our Song's strength, Song Qiuqiu, shall we continue then? Xiang Feng, that's not necessary. Before he could finish his sentence, the second and third pomegranate, cannonball, came one after another, smashing Xiang Feng until he saw stars. Xiangyi was stunned. Could it be that both of them had 0 defense points and full attack points? A few minutes later, Song Qiuqiu held an exquisite porcelain cup and sipped tea, looking extremely elegant and dignified. Xiang Feng grimaced, his expression as if he was wearing a mask of pain. He said to Madame Xiang aggrievedly, Mom, it hurts. Madame Xiang pushed the dessert plate towards Song Qiuqiu and said with a smile, You deserve it. Chapter 1002. Xiang Feng? Why? Wasn't he his mother's favorite child? Xiangyi hurriedly said, Sister Song, I remember that you like sweet things. I made these egg tarts and cranberry pastries myself. Try them. Song Qiuqiu maintained the elegance of a socialite. She picked up a small piece of cranberry pastry and took a small bite. The skin was golden and shiny, and the butter and egg yolk mixed together to create a crisp texture. The sweetness and sourness of the dried cranberries and the faint milky fragrance were perfectly blended together. Just by biting into such a small piece, she felt that it was soft and sticky, leaving a lingering fragrance in her mouth. Song Qiuqiu, oh woo. Song Qiuqiu stopped pretending to be a lady. After taking big bites of 2 egg tarts and a few pieces of cranberry pastry, Song Qiuqiu's eyes were brimming with tears. It's so delicious. Our tutu's cooking is amazing. Xiangyi smiled. Eat more if you like it. Madame Xiang's eyes were kind. Song's appetite is still as good as when she was a child. Hee hee. She turned her head and met Xiang Feng's eyes. Song Qiuqiu said uncomfortably, Why do you keep looking at me? I eat very ugly. Xiang Feng, I don't know why, but when I see you eating, I think of a particularly beautiful scene. Song Qiuqiu, Xiangyi's sixth sense told her that her uncle probably wouldn't say anything good. The girl grabbed Xiang Feng's sleeve. Uncle, think about it, but it was too late. Xiang Feng said affectionately, Little Xiangyi, don't you have a lot of little piglets? Those little piglets eat pig food so happily. Song Qiuqiu took a deep breath. Song Qiuqiu began to roll up her sleeves. Auntie, Tutu, I'm sorry, but I might show you some uncomfortable scenes. Xiangyi looked up at the sky. Grandma, look, that cloud looks like a leaf. Madame Xiang nodded. Yes, I can't see anything except the clouds. Xiang Feng raised his head to look. The sky was unbelievably blue, and it wouldn't be an exaggeration to say that there were no clouds for thousands of miles. Where are the clouds? Just as he was mumbling, Song Qiuqiu pounced on him. She swiftly grabbed his ear and twisted it half a circle. Xiang Feng, ah, it hurts, it hurts. Song Song was in pain. Let go. Like a little piglet, right? I think you're a pig. Is throwing pomegranates fun? Huh. I'm giving you face, and you're taking advantage of it? Her voice was as sweet as ever. Song Qiuqiu didn't hesitate when she started. At first glance, it was obvious that she was a fake socialite's daughter and a real irritable girl. The entire courtyard was filled with Xiang Feng's wailing and howling, as well as Song Qiuqiu's profanities. After an unknown amount of time, Song Qiuqiu let go of his hand and said in a delicate and soft voice, Auntie, Tutu, I need to use the bathroom. Xiangyi, Sister Song, I'll take you there. No need, no need. I know where it is. Xiang Feng watched her enter the villa, then straightened his back and bragged, with that little strength of hers, it's like a mosquito bite. It doesn't hurt at all. Xiangyi, uncle, but you were screaming just now. Xiang Feng choked and flew into a rage out of humiliation. I was acting. Can't you see that? Madame Xiang took a sip of tea. I can see that you're afraid of Song Song. How can this be called being afraid? This is my respect for women as a man. Xiang Feng's words were powerful and resolute. Xiangyi exposed him. Hey, Sister Song, why are you back? Xiang Feng quickly hid under the table and covered his ears with his hands. His movements were so practiced, it made one's heart ache. Chapter 1003. Pfft. Xiangyi couldn't help but burst into laughter. Xiang Feng waited for a long time, but he didn't hear any movement from Song Qiuqiu. He raised his head and scanned the room, only to realize that he had been deceived. Xiang Feng's dignity didn't allow him to embarrass himself in front of his little niece. He sprung up and exclaimed, Little Xiangyi. How dare you bully uncle? Hey, uncle. Xiangyi's reminder came too late. Xiang Feng stood up with the help of the exquisite little table, causing the things on the table to sway and fall to the ground. When Song Qiuqiu returned from the bathroom, he saw his favorite desserts and black tea falling all over the ground. Xiang Feng. Hence, Xiangyi and Madame Xiang began watching the clouds again. Although it was embarrassing to get beaten up, the fact that Xiang Feng had brought his girlfriend home greatly improved his status in the Xiang family. Xiang Yin and Madame Xiang were getting on in years, so they naturally wanted their children to have good families. Tutu didn't need to be urged, but the other little brats did. The Xiang brothers were all arranged to go on blind dates one after another. A few days later, the first to be arranged was Xiang Feng. At the finals of the autumn competition, Smog used a sniper rifle to determine the winner. The commentator's excited voice sounded at the scene. They won. Team Logic won. 5 kills with 1 shot. Samayogu is awesome. The applause, screams, and cheers of the audience were so loud that the ceiling was about to be overturned. Everyone was shouting the same name, Smog. Xiang Feng's blind date, Xiao Shi, was no exception. She was an esports fan and her favorite team was Team Logic. She was initially disgusted by the blind dates arranged by her family, but after finding out that her blind date was Xiang Feng, Xiao Shi was delighted. She sent a message in the group chat, frowny face, I'm going to see Smog soon. Her boyfriends were envious and sour. Half an hour later, Xiao Shi took the pass given to her by Madame Xiang and arrived at Team Logic's esports base without any obstructions. The contestants were jesting and joking around. Xiaoxi plucked up her courage and asked, is Smog around? Oh, you must be the girl who came here for the blind date with Sameo Gu. Captain Wander smiled mischievously and winked at the training room. Sameo Gu is waiting for you inside. Xiaoxi's heart thumped as she knocked on the door. No one answered. She waited for more than 10 seconds before boldly turning the doorknob. In front of a high-end computer, a thin and slender young man sat with his legs bent. He wore black headphones and was staring intently at the screen. Was this a review? Smog was really motivated. As expected of the man who won the MVP award, when she took a closer look, Xiaoxi's expression froze. He was video chatting with Xiangyi. In the video, Xiangyi was reading a book while Xiao Naofu was lying on her lap, snoring in its sleep. Its little belly breathed in and out. It was soft and fluffy and squeaky. Xiaoxi patted her face and walked forward. Smog, hello. She reached out to Xiangyu. Xiangyu looked up. His eyes were excessively good-looking and his skin was unbelievably good. He didn't look like an internet addict who stayed up all night. He took off his headphones and said in a cold voice, "Excuse me, you're blocking my view of my little baby." Xiaoxi? She laughed dryly and said, "Looks like you really like cats." "No, you're mistaken." Xiangyu said in all seriousness, "I prefer my keyboard and computer." Xiaoxi? Xiangyi on the other end of the screen? Chapter 1004. Could it be that the trait of being a straight man runs in the family? Xiangyi was worried. In the training room, Xiaoxi laughed dryly and said, "Actually, I quite like keyboards too. I bought a lot of mechanical keyboards and all kinds of limited keycaps." Xiangyu nodded. Oh. Then, that was it. Xiaoxi was speechless. Although she had no experience in blind dates, she had seen pigs run. Finding topics to talk about was a matter between the two of them. She couldn't be the only girl, could she? She braced herself and said, "Don't you have anything to say to me?" "I do." Xiangyu paused. "I think it's better not to talk about it." Xiaoxi said, "It's okay. Actually, it's my first time on a blind date and I don't have much experience." "I heard it's your first time too, so let's talk freely." Xiangyu hesitated. "Are you sure?" "Yeah, go ahead." Xiangyu said coldly with a poker face, "You have chili powder on your teeth." Xiaoxi was speechless. A few seconds later, she screamed and rushed out of the training room. On the screen, Xiangyu resisted the urge to dig her toes into the ground and reminded him, "Brother, can you not be so straight?" Xiangyu was puzzled. "Am I?" Xiangyi. "That's right, just treat her the same way you treat Xiao Naofu." In that case, Xiangyu might have a glimmer of hope of being single. However, Xiangyu refused without hesitation. "How can I do that? I can't betray our Xiao Naofu. It's my only baby. How can I betray my baby for a woman?" After a few seconds of silence, Xiangyi hung up the video call. "Do whatever you want," smiley face. Seeing the screen go black, Xiangyu clicked the mouse hard to confirm that the video call was hung up and not a problem with the internet. He was depressed. Did he do anything wrong? Why didn't she show him Xiao Naofu? Creak, the door of the training room opened and 5 heads poked in. Whoa! Xiangyu turned his gaming chair and was shocked to see the row of heads. "What are you guys doing?" "Wander, that girl is crying." "Are you sure you don't want to coax her?" The other teammates all started talking at once. That's right, that's right. After all, she's a girl." "Sameo-gu, you don't know how to be gentle with girls, do you? You're just trying to coax her. How can you treat your blind date like that? The little girl is so nice. She even ordered milk tea and cakes for each of us. Do you have the heart to do that?" The tip of Xiangyu's tongue pressed against the roof of his mouth unhappily. "Alright, stop talking. I'll go take a look." With one hand in the pocket of his dark gray sweatpants, he went to the restaurant. Xiaoxi was sitting on an armchair in the corner, sobbing uncontrollably. Ahem. Xiangyu cleared his throat to make his presence known. Xiaoxi's eyes lit up again. She thought she would hear some comforting words. Unexpectedly, Xiangyu said directly, "Can you cry somewhere else? This sofa is Xiao Naofu's favorite. It usually sleeps on it for naps, so it's exclusive to it." Xiaoxi? Listen, is this even human language? And the pillow in your arms, it used to drink milk, oh right, and you, Xiaoxi couldn't take it anymore and said angrily, "You don't like the console and keyboard at all. You obviously like Xiao Naofu. Go spend the rest of your life with your Xiao Naofu." Not only was Xiang Yu not angry, his eyes lit up. Such a good thing exists? Xiaoxi. Chapter 1005. Wander sent me a message saying that Xiaoxi was so angry that she left in tears. Xiangyi reported the results of Huaxiang's blind date to her grandmother. Madame Xiang put on a new Buddhist bead bracelet and said calmly, "Next. Huaxiang can't be that straight, right, at the studio." Xiang Qi was making a sample dress. Unlike the ready-made clothes, which were cut from a piece of fabric, he was now using pieces of paper to piece the dress together like a jigsaw puzzle. The assistants had tears in their eyes as they admired the ingenious and flawless design. It was so beautiful. Hades's inspiration was like a fountain that would never dry up. The highlight of an ordinary designer's career was usually just a few years or a series of designs. However, every single one of Hades's designs was always a highlight. They were full of surprises and surprises. The most amazing thing was that he didn't care about the outside world at all. While making the sample dress, he could divert his attention to call his sister. Blind date? Okay, I've already experienced it. Let's see if I can get any inspiration. When he hung up the phone, the last piece of paper was perfectly attached to the mannequin's body. The assistants looked at Xiang Qi's artwork with fanatical eyes. However, he shook his head. The design is too ugly. Pass. The assistants. Everyone's heart was bleeding. How was such a perfect dress ugly? However, they knew that Hades could definitely come up with a better design. There was no reason for it. They just had confidence in him. Xiang Qi was casually modifying the design drawings. Before long, he heard a notification from his Bluetooth earpiece. He took out his cell phone and saw that his sister had sent him a business card and a long paragraph of detailed information. Huaxiang, this sister is called Elena. She's a supermodel. She likes French food and hates frivolous perfume. Xiang Qi felt a headache coming on. He clicked to add her as a friend, chatted with her, and asked her out for a meal. Everything went smoothly. This made Xiang Qi's ego swell. It turned out that finding a girlfriend was so easy. Seeing that his status in the family had risen, his sister cared a lot about him. She would cook 2 of his favorite dishes for every meal. 2. Xiang Qi secretly swore in his heart. He, the Xiang clan's Qi, must become the second man in the Xiang clan to leave his single life. At night. At a certain French restaurant, the decor was elegant and exquisite. The pianist was playing soothing and melodious music. There was an exquisite white porcelain vase on each table. According to Elena's preference, the vase was decorated with white double-petaled fragrant snow orchids and green eucalyptus leaves. Xiang Qi had also chosen a steady, woody perfume for his perfume. He had chosen a simple, clean, and pure-colored suit for his suit. His hair was casually tied back, giving him a designer's artistic aura. As expected, Elena was very satisfied with his first impression. The 2 of them talked about art, literature, fashion, movies, music. Because of their jobs, the 2 of them had a lot of common topics and shared similar values. Facing the devilishly handsome man in front of her, his peach blossom eyes were captivating when he smiled, and even the way his Adam's apple bobbed up and down when he drank water was exceptionally tempting. Elena was not a reserved girl. Once she liked someone, she would take the initiative. She winked at Xiang Qi. "Let's go for a drink?" "Sure." Half an hour later. Elena sat in a milk tea shop, holding a large cup of milk tea with pearls, taro balls, and bobo. She gritted her teeth. This is called drinking 1 cup. Chapter 1006. What else? Xianxia took a big sip of milk tea and gave her a thumbs up. That's right, this is the taste. Elena was speechless. She was a supermodel. How could she drink such a thing? Out of politeness, she took a small sip. Why don't we do something exciting, okay? Elena hinted again. Okay, I'll listen to you. Xianxia drank the milk tea. I'll drink this cup. Elena smiled fakely. When they passed by a trash can, she quickly threw it in when Xianxia wasn't paying attention. 10 minutes later. The car stopped. Elena touched up her makeup on the air cushion. She thought that they had arrived at the hotel, but unexpectedly, the car stopped beside a small alley. Looking at the dark alley, Elena gritted her teeth. Although the environment was a little harsh, it was hard to meet a man as good as Hades, thus, she gritted her teeth and got out of the car. In the dark, Elena took off her coat and said in a charming voice, "Let's start, what's the hurry?" "We're not there yet." "Hey, why are you taking off your clothes?" "That's not very good. There are still 8 people later." Elena was about to vomit blood. 8? You actually called 8 people? Are you a man? She was going to post. She was going to expose Hades, this shameless person. Elena typed indignantly. Just as she was about to send the post, she heard Xianxia say matter-of-factly, "Don't you want something exciting? It's definitely more fun with more people in that escape room." Xianxia pushed open a door with ease. The dim yellow light illuminated 2 lines of large words, "The most fun escape room in South City. Real people cosplay. It's free if it's not exciting." Elena was speechless. Elena changed her clothes and entered the secret room in fear. Fortunately, she was in the same room as Xianxia. The room was luxuriously decorated. The lights were ambiguous and hazy. On the large carved bed, there was a wine-red silk quilt. Elena's fingers gently slid across Xianxia's back. Her breath smelled like orchids. "Hades, don't you think this is very suitable for kissing?" Xianxia pushed her away righteously and scolded her bitterly. "Is this the attitude you're using when you're playing escape room? Where's your basic respect for this game? God, I didn't expect you to be like this, Elena." "Elena? F***ck, I'm not playing anymore." She was so angry that she sat on the bed and watched as Xianxia jumped up and down to look for clues. He even climbed up the ceiling vent to study it, but he didn't even look at her. Suddenly, Xianxia stopped. Elena thought that he was finally going to talk to her, so she secretly pulled down the straps of her dress. However, Xianxia actually sat on the ground, picked up a small sketchbook that he always carried with him, and started to draw designs. He was even shouting. "This gender-neutral detective outfit will definitely suit little sister. No, how can one be enough? I want 10 sets." Elena smiled. Elena deleted Xianxia from her friend list. The next day, in the courtyard. "Grandma, 3rd brother is also." Xianxia sighed. She didn't need to say anything. Madame Xiang changed the string of prayer beads in her hand again, but her expression was very calm. "It's okay, next. Lily has been a good child since she was young. She never made us worry." Xianxia said, "2nd brother should be different from them, right? After all, 2nd brother was a genius." At the research institute. Blind date? Xianxia adjusted his glasses and smiled gently. "Sure, Tutu." Chapter 1007. Xianxia was very surprised by Hua Tingrue's cooperation. Madame Xiang was also very pleased. Maybe Lily can find her other half through the blind date. Of course, even if she doesn't fall in love, it's good to make more friends. Xianxia was also looking forward to it. Xiang Li's blind date was a big deal for the research institute. The research institute reported it to the higher-ups and won him a precious half-day off. His colleagues in the laboratory also cheered him on. "Dr. Xiang, bring us a sister-in-law." Regardless of whether it was teasing or encouraging, Xiangli smiled and nodded. His temper was unbelievably good. The next day, the sun was warm and the wind was gentle. Xiangli changed into a simple white cotton linen shirt and khaki trousers. It was a very comfortable outfit. According to the appointed time, he arrived at the cafe half an hour early. The bodyguards sent by the state to protect him were either out in the open or in the dark, guarding the cafe. Xiangli ordered a caramel macchiato for himself. He had always liked all sweets. Being fond of sweets was probably part of the Xiang family's genes. He drank 2 cups of coffee before his blind date arrived. Xiangli lowered his head and glanced at his watch without batting an eyelid. He was 15 minutes late. She didn't apologize and introduced herself in a businesslike manner. "Hello, I'm Chao Xing. I'm 26 years old. I graduated with a master's degree when I was 19 and obtained a doctorate in biology abroad when I was 21, Xiangli listened casually. 19 years old, what was he doing back then? He seemed to have been a visiting professor at one of the top universities in the world. Dr. Xiang? Dr. Xiang? The other person's shout pulled Xiangli back from his distant thoughts. Xiangli bowed and said, "Sorry, I got distracted." Chao Xing said, "Although I'm not very satisfied with you, I think we can get married." I think we can use a week to get to know each other, 3 months to fall in love, 6 months to get married, and a year to have children. This way, it won't delay our research plans." Xiangli couldn't help but laugh. "Miss Chao's plan is very good." Chao Xing said confidently, "I think this is a very scientific and efficient arrangement." Xiangli took a sip of coffee and faintly said, "But Einstein said that science is about the research of the laws of facts. Before we have a test sample, I don't think Miss Chao's proposal is the best solution." "So, Dr. Xiang is not satisfied with me?" Chao Xing raised her eyebrows. "It's okay. I've seen many men like you. I fully understand and respect your thoughts," Xiangli smiled. Einstein also said that there are 2 things that are endless, the vast universe and the ignorance of mankind. But I can only be sure of the latter. Chao Xing's expression changed slightly. "I'm very confident in my IQ. Miss Chao's confidence is indeed admirable. I only feel your sarcasm. I also don't feel any respect from Miss Chao." The 2 of them went back and forth, tit for tat. Chao Xing's eyes became brighter and brighter. Xiangli became more and more disinterested. Was this a blind date? Boring. Why should humans waste the rest of their lives on other humans? Dating? He might as well dissect a few cages of rabbits. As expected, the blind date ended in failure. Xiangli leisurely sent a WeChat message to his sister. "Tutu, I seem to be really unpopular aggrieved. JPG, tearful. JPG, pitiful. JPG." Chapter 1008. Xiangni's reply came quickly. "How could that be? Did someone bully brother?" She then sent a bunch of emojis of her rolling up her sleeves and stomping her feet angrily. Xiangli smirked. "Indeed, it's more fun to tease Tutu. Woman? Sorry, no need for that." A certain medical doctor, who cut black and white but found that it was still black, used the spring and autumn annals to describe today's blind date. When Xiangni found out that her second brother had been disliked, she hurriedly coaxed him for a long time and showered him with all sorts of praises. She even promised to cook a lot of delicious food for him. Only then did Xiangli, aggrieved and pitiful, express that he didn't feel so bad anymore. "Grandma, this is what happened." The same scene repeated itself in the courtyard one afternoon. Madame Xiang sighed and said, "Forget it. Instead of finding someone who doesn't get along with me, I might as well be single." "But Qinshan and Xiaowan have known each other for a long time, right?" Xiangni recalled for a while and said, "I think so." She had heard from Nan that Xiaowan was a fan of hers. Xiaowan was good at writing and retouching photos, and it helped the fan club a lot. Madame Xiang twirled her Buddhist prayer beads. Of course, she had changed them again. She smiled benevolently and said, "You can't do the same thing more than 3 times. It should work this time, right?" Xiangyi had an ominous feeling. "Lawyer Xiang, this is your itinerary for the next week. Also, you have a meeting with the CEO of Dingfeng Technology in half an hour." The assistant reminded Sanction concisely. He sat in front of the walnut table with his hair combed back, looking like a meticulous elite. He was dressed in a black suit and a white shirt. His well-defined fingers were casually flipping through the judgment papers. His aura was cold and indifferent, just like the cedar trees on the distant mountains. After the assistant finished reporting, he expressed assent and asked, "Do you have any other arrangements?" If not, he was going to go home and have dinner with his little bunny. The assistant said fearfully, "Actually, old madam and Miss E want you to invite Miss Xiaowan to dinner to get to know each other better." Sanction's fingers paused for a moment. He raised his head, his eyes deep and calm. "Who is Xiaowan?" The assistant was speechless for a moment before saying, "You're talking about the guardian of the best Xiang Yi in the world on Weibo. Previously, you even helped her friend fight a lawsuit." Sanction nodded slightly. "So it's her." Every time Guardian finished editing a picture or made a promotional poster or sticker pack about Xiangyi, it would send him a copy immediately. Sanction had even set her as a special notification so that he could receive a picture of the bunny as soon as possible. The assistant, "Then did you agree?" Lawyer Xiang actually agreed to a blind date. Sanction, on the other hand, thought that it was just a meal. Coincidentally, he saw Xiaowan's Weibo update. She posted a set of 9 photos, each of which depicted Xiangyi as beautiful as a painting. The caption accompanying the post was, "I still have a lot of stock, I have to work hard today too. Let's go." Sanction liked the post and then sent her a message to invite her. Soon, Sanction said without even looking up, "Help me book a quiet restaurant." The assistant was extremely excited. Okay. I'll go right away. I didn't expect the 1,000-year-old sago tree to blossom one day. I must choose a hotel that has 5 stars in all aspects." It was 7:00 in the evening. Sanction and Xiaowan took a seat in the restaurant. Xiaowan recalled what her roommate teased her before she left. "Lawyer Xiang, are you interested in you?" She asked nervously. "Lawyer Xiang, is there something you need from me?" Chapter 1009. Xiaowan's heart pounded wildly. Could it be that it's really like what my roommate said? Mr. Xiang wants to, stop. Sanction cut the steak with a knife and fork and pushed it in front of Xiaowan in a gentlemanly manner. Miss Xiao. Huh. Facing Sanction's deep gaze, Xiaowan was so nervous that her palms began to sweat. "Can you give me a copy of Tutu's stock?" That's it? Xiaowan answered in a daze, "Sure, but there are many photos that haven't been edited yet. The brightness, angle, and so on, it's all right. I'll go back and sort them out before sending them to you. There might be a lot of documents, probably dozens of gigabytes." Upon hearing this, Sanction's cold eyes lit up. "Please send me a copy of all of them." Okay. Xiaowan felt relieved. "That's great. I thought you were looking for me because you wanted to date me." Sanction asked, "Oh? That won't do, I'm Sister Yi's mummy fan. She's my child, and I'm her mother. I'm also Lawyer Xiang's." Cough. Xiaowan coughed violently and said, "I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said that. I definitely don't think of you as my son." After being his sister's fan for so long, Sanction had already mastered many of the terms used in the fandom. The so-called mummy fan didn't really treat the artiste as their son or daughter, but rather, it was similar to the feelings of a mother who was worried sick. "I know." Xiaowan asked, Really? Sanction said, "Don't worry. Remember to send the photos." Only then did Xiaowan let go of her hands and feet and eat the steak without restraint. At this moment, a sweet female voice sounded. Brother Chen, what a coincidence. You're here too. Xiao Wan looked in the direction of the voice. The person was wearing a pink little fragrance suit and carrying a white sheepskin bag. She looked innocent and noble. Sangchen's attitude was cold. Miss, what can I do for you? The little princess was shocked. You don't remember me? Sangchen replied expressionlessly, yes. I went on a blind date with you 2 days ago. The little princess stomped her feet in anger. Did you reject me because of this woman? Xiao Wan, who was innocently implicated, she was impatient and blurted out, you've misunderstood. Lawyer Xiang and I are, at most, mother and son. Sangchen was confused. The little princess, ? Xiao Wan immediately corrected herself, just friends. No, it's just a netizen. The little princess didn't believe him, and her eyes turned red. The guests at the next table couldn't bear it and had the urge to comfort the little princess. However, Xiang Chen's expression didn't change in the slightest from beginning to end. Sorry, I'm not interested in women. Oh, so he's not interested in women, Xiao Wan and the little princess thought. The next second, Xiao Wan. The little princess. Perhaps because their expressions were too horrified, Sangchen forced himself to control his temper and explained, it's the same for men. It has nothing to do with gender. The little princess had tears in her eyes. So, is there still a slight possibility between us? Sangchen said, I don't think your wording is precise enough. It's not just a slight possibility, it's absolutely impossible. The little princess picked up her glass of water. Then you and your law firm can spend the rest of your life together. She wanted to splash Sangchen, but when she met his frosty gaze, she was so frightened that she stopped herself. Splash, a glass of water was poured over her head. The little princess sobbed. I'll splash myself. Xiao Wan. Chapter 10:10. What kind of bewitching behavior is this? Only when the little princess left sobbing did Xiao Wan recover from the shock. He's indeed the demon of the Xiang family, he's really domineering. She swallowed her saliva and asked, can I continue to eat? I'm so worried that the demon will flip the entire table in a bad mood. Miss Xiao, feel free to eat. Sangchen wiped the corners of his mouth with a white napkin and said, remember to send the pictures. Sangchen nodded in satisfaction. That night, Sangchen received a document that was compressed to dozens of gigabytes. There were photos, animated videos, and videos. The ability of a girl who chased after celebrities was not to be underestimated. She even found Xiangyi's junior high school entrance photo. The corners of Xiang Chen's mouth rose into a half-smile. Tutu is still the adorable one. Hence, another day passed. Grandma, Xiang. Xiangyi said feebly. As soon as she started, Madame Xiang had already guessed the answer. You don't have to say any more. Our children and grandchildren have their own blessings. I think they all deserve to be single. Each of them is more straightforward than the other, and each of them is more uninterested in women than the other. Grandma, maybe it's not fate yet. Maybe one day, my brothers will all be single. Xiang Yi's voice was soft and tender, and her comforting words warmed Madame Xiang's heart. Madame Xiang stroked Xiang Yi's head affectionately and said, Tutu is still the best. He. By the way, Wan is coming back from abroad. At the mention of Xiang Wan, Madame Xiang felt a headache coming on. Tutu will go and pick Auntie up, okay? Sure, Auntie sent me a plane ticket. She and Shui happen to be taking the same flight. I'll pick them up then. Xiang Yi's grandfather and Madame Xiang had 2 sons and 1 daughter in total. Xiang Yi's father died young, and Xiang Feng was a heartless clown. Xiang Wan, on the other hand, was famous for being a strong career woman. She ran one of the top jewelry companies in the world. Her brand, Chenyu, was popular all over the world. Every season, the new products would become the hottest brands in the world. The reason why Xiang Wan was so heartbroken was because of Xiang Wan's character. To put it nicely, she was a straight girl. To put it bluntly, he was a bar spirit. He was like the reincarnation of Archimedes' lever. Every time she returned to the old mansion, there would be a bloodbath. She was an existence that even Xianxia, who was known as the Demon King, feared. 3 days later. Nanjing Airport. Xianxia went out in casual clothes with no makeup on. She sat in the VIP lounge waiting for her aunt and boyfriend and knitted a scarf to pass the time. The girl's slender fingers were light and nimble, and the stitches were neat and exquisite. The wool ball grew bigger and smaller, and the scarf grew longer and longer. Even though she was sitting in the corner, the girl still had an attractive aura. Someone recognized Xianxia and paced back and forth in front of the girl more than 10 times, hesitating whether to go up and say hello. After walking in front of Xianxia for the 16th time, he finally mustered up his courage and said, "Sister E, hello. I am your fan. Can I take a photo with you?" Xianxia said in a good-natured manner, "Sure." He heaved a sigh of relief and said, "Sister E, you're so nice." Just as she took out her phone, before she could take a photo, someone suddenly pushed her aside. It was an internet celebrity who was holding a phone stand and doing a live broadcast. "Wow, my babies, look at how lucky I am. I actually met Xianxia. Sister E, say hello to my fans in the live broadcast room." Out of courtesy, Xianxia smiled and nodded in greeting. However, the internet celebrity did not give up. She grabbed Xianxia's arm and said, "It's fate. Sister E, you don't mind doing a live broadcast with me, right?" Chapter 10-11. Feeling a little uncomfortable, Xianxia frowned and immediately withdrew her hand. The fan from just now was speechless. "If you're doing a live stream, so be it. Why did you have to bring Sister E along? It's a private schedule. How can you disturb her like that?" The internet celebrity said exaggeratedly, "Sister E didn't even say anything, so why are you making such a fuss? Do you think you're the only one with a mouth? Besides, Sister E is so nice, what's wrong with interacting with my fans?" As she said that, she pointed her phone at Xianxia, wishing she could shove the screen directly into Xianxia's face. The comments in the live stream were flooding in quickly. "Ah, it's Sister E. Forgive me for being blunt, but this host is a little rude. Oh my god, the camera is so close, but she still looks so good. This is the difference between a celebrity and an internet celebrity. I'm sorry, could you please do a live stream somewhere else?" Xianxia persuaded in a gentle tone. The internet celebrity rolled her eyes and felt that Xianxia was a pushover. She immediately made a decision. She was definitely going to go back on her word. In the past, her live stream would only have tens of thousands of viewers at most. However, after filming Xianxia for a short while, the number of viewers had already reached hundreds of thousands. Xianxia's super popularity was evident. Sister E, I just like you so much that I want to talk to you." "Sister E, aren't you the most doting on your fans? Can't you satisfy such a small request?" The fan was speechless. "Are you spicy tutu? I think you're a fake fan. Why don't you tell me what Sister Yi's works are?" The internet celebrity couldn't say. Apart from two under one roof, she knew nothing about Xianxia. She looked around and said, "Wow, Sister Yi's scarf is so good. Is it for Shurindi? Let me touch it." Xianxia quietly dodged, causing the internet celebrity to stagger and almost fall. She said unhappily, "Sister E is so petty. Isn't it just a scarf? I can't even touch it." Xianxia slowly hooked the last stitch on the scarf, folded the scarf neatly, and looked up indifferently. Her clear doe eyes seemed to reflect the moonlight, unbelievably beautiful. "Miss, you don't want to leave?" Meeting Xianxia's eyes, the internet celebrity felt a little flustered. However, when she thought about popularity, she felt that it was not a big deal to gain attention and gain popularity. What could Xianxia do to her? Could it be that they could still fight? When that happened, the netizens would definitely flame Xianxia. Feeling emboldened, the internet celebrity retorted, "Xianxia, this is the VIP lounge. This is the treatment that I deserve after buying a first-class ticket. Xiang Yi, are you trying to chase me away? Does he have any regard for the rules of the airline? Isn't he a little too self-centered? The spicy tutu girls were speechless. What kind of lotus flower speech was this? How infuriating. On the other hand, the netizens who were watching the show were extremely excited. Fight! Fight! Under everyone's gaze, Xiangyi said calmly, "Okay, I understand." She lowered her head and seemed to have sent a message. Thinking that she was scared, the internet celebrity said, "Sister E, it'll be bad if the netizens misunderstand you. Why don't you explain it to everyone in my live stream?" Before she finished speaking, several flight attendants of the airline hurried over. Someone came to apologize to Xiangyi. "Miss Xiang, we're sorry to have caused you a bad experience." Someone also said to the internet celebrity who was doing the live stream, "Miss, your actions have violated the order of our VIP lounge. You have also violated other people's portrait rights and privacy rights. Please stop your actions immediately, or we will call the police and hand it over to our legal team. Thank you." Chapter 10-12. The number of viewers in the live stream exceeded 1 million. After being scolded in front of millions of people, the online celebrity felt embarrassed and flew into a rage. "I bought a first-class ticket. Why can't I do a live stream here? Aren't you guys taking special care of Xiangyi just because she's a celebrity? It's too much to divide the guests into different classes. I'm going to lodge a complaint against you. Xiangyi's family doesn't own the airline." The service staff interrupted her. "First of all, we treat all customers equally, unless they don't respect the passenger agreement. Secondly, Qingfeng Airlines is owned by Miss Xiang's mother's family." The online celebrity was dumbfounded. The audience was dumbfounded. What? Did I hear wrongly? Damn it, I went to Google and found out that the largest shareholder of this airline is an Sister E, mentioned before that her mother's surname is also an. Amazing. What kind of Ms. Perfect is Sister E? Sister E, take a good look at yourself and stop trying to ride on Sister Yi's coattails, okay? The online celebrity's expression changed again and again. She wanted to say something else to hype herself up, but the service staff had already gestured for her to leave, as if they would take her away if she didn't leave. Seeing this, she had no choice but to leave dejectedly. The world was finally quiet. The service staff bowed to Xiangyi and said, "I'm sorry, Miss Xiang, we will prepare a private lounge for you next time. Sorry to trouble you guys, it's been hard on you. Don't mention it, don't mention it." Soon, the service staff left too. The other passengers quietly looked at Xiangyi, only to find that she didn't seem to be affected. She picked up the crochet needle and started knitting a new scarf. Her movements were skillful and beautiful. At the same time, outside the lounge, the online celebrity was so infuriated that her nose was almost crooked. She said to the camera, "Did you guys see that? So what if you're rich? Do you think you can do whatever you want just because you're rich?" The pop-up comments in the live stream were all, yes. The online celebrity was speechless. The number of viewers in the live stream dropped sharply. Without Xiangyi around, the netizens naturally lost interest in her. The internet celebrity quickly changed his train of thought to whet everyone's appetite. Isn't everyone curious about who Xiangyi is here to pick up? The scarf she knitted just now was pink. Do you think Shengdi will use a pink scarf? Out of curiosity, many of the audience stayed behind to see what she was going to say. When the internet celebrity saw that the number of viewers had stabilized, he lowered his thick false eyelashes and rolled his eyes. Who knows, maybe she's here to pick up a little fresh meat. For example, Jiang Chen, Yan Nai, Rong Huai, and so on. It's reasonable for young boys to use pink. Before he could finish speaking, a capable and venomous female voice rose behind him. "Miss, may I ask if you don't have a father or mother?" The internet celebrity turned her head abruptly, and the phone screen turned along with it. The audience saw a woman who was about 170 centimeters tall. She was wearing a camel-colored long windbreaker and a pair of black boots. She wore a pair of brown sunglasses on her palm-sized face. Her entire demeanor was elegant and outstanding. What are you talking about? If I don't have a father or a mother, doesn't that mean I'm an orphan? The woman took off half of her sunglasses. Her skin was delicate and fair, and her red lips were slightly curved. She spoke very quickly. Oh, so you can understand human language? I thought you were some kind of special primate that hadn't fully developed yet. Chapter 1013. The internet celebrity was dumbfounded. She finally came back to her senses and wanted to fight back, but under the suppression of the other party's powerful aura, she could only say weakly, how can you speak like that? Her gaze landed on her phone. She made a small calculation and immediately complained to the audience, feeling aggrieved. My dear babies, look, this person is so uncultured. How can she say that about me? Unexpectedly, there was a sudden change in the style of the comments. Pretty sister's looks are killing me. What kind of domineering sister is this? I love her. Pretty sister is too domineering. Please debut on the spot. The internet celebrity had mixed feelings. Is this the legendary world where looks matter? Xianxia sneered. I really envy your face. It's so well maintained. Even a fly would sprain its ankle if it walked on your face, right? The internet celebrity was speechless. Lady, I don't know what I've done to offend you, but you're attacking me personally. If you insult me again, I'm going to hire a lawyer to sue you. Insult you? Are you worthy? Xianxia sized her up from head to toe. You're bullying our little tutu because she's beautiful and soft-hearted. I'd like to know which law says that an ant can't stand up for our little tutu. Aunt, this woman is actually Xiangyi's aunt? The internet celebrity was horrified. She was like a naughty child who had bullied someone else's child, and the other party's parents came to support her aggressively. She was just a coward. I just like her and want her to do a live stream with me. Like? Our little tutu doesn't need your cheap and ridiculous liking at all. Live stream? If our little tutu wants to do a live stream, she can do it. If she doesn't, don't even think about forcing her. Forget it, it's not easy for you either. God has sprinkled wisdom all over the world, but he has given you an umbrella. TSK, Xianxia rolled her eyes at her and walked towards the lounge elegantly in her high heels. She was so aggressive that the internet celebrity was almost doubting her life. The audience cheered, Auntie, well done. Someone edited the video, and it soon went viral on the internet and was widely circulated. Some netizens felt that Xianxia was being too aggressive and unbecoming of a lady from a respectable family. The spicy tutu girls, on the other hand, thought that they were really lucky to have an aunt like Xianxia who would stand by them unconditionally and protect them. Who doesn't want to be favored? Especially when he was favored by his family. Xiangyi is really, blatantly favored by her family. Xiangyi was knitting the scarf seriously when a smiling greeting suddenly came from above her head. Little tutu, how have you been? Xiangyi raised her head abruptly. When she saw that it was Xianxia, she happily pounced on her. Aunt! Ayaya, our little tutu has grown taller again. Xianxia pinched Xiangyi's cheeks and rubbed her cheeks. You seem to have softened. Xiangyi. The girl's ears turned red. Auntie, there are so many people here, Xianxia sneered. I'll gouge out the eyeballs of anyone who dares to look. The crowd, who didn't dare to look in her direction because of her aura, trembled. The next second, Xianxia lowered her voice and asked quietly, Can I do it when there's no one around? Xiangyi was speechless for a moment and sighed softly. Auntie, you're still the same as before, she used LSP the moment she spoke. Chapter 1014. The two chatted casually for a while. Xiangyi looked down at the time and said, My boyfriend's flight has arrived. Auntie, wait here for a while. I'll pick him up and help him with his luggage. Wait, you're helping him with his luggage? Does he not have hands or legs? Xianxia said angrily. Xiangyi said innocently, He's very delicate. I'm afraid he'll be tired. What kind of boyfriend did little tutu find? Xianxia, who had lived abroad for a long time, did not know much about the domestic entertainment industry. Her impression of Shui was also stuck at the time when he was a teenager. She pondered for a moment and said, "If that's the case, I'll go with you." "Huh? No, I can do it, Auntie." "You can't." "I can do it, I don't want you to think." "I want me to think." Under Xiang Wan's insistence, Xiangyi had to agree. The two walked through the VIP passage and saw Shui at the end. The man had just gotten off the plane and was wearing a clean and warm white turtleneck sweater. He took out his phone from his trouser pocket, turned off the airplane mode, and sent a message to Xiangyi immediately. Xiangyi waved at him and said, Here. Shui turned his head. After seeing Xiangyi, the slightly sharp and cold aura around him disappeared. Like a frozen lake welcoming spring, his eyebrows and eyes were full of smiles. Xiangyi stepped forward and said, "I'll help you with your luggage." Shui chuckled and said, "Okay, then let's exchange." Xiang Wan, who was not far away, pursed her lips and was a little disgusted. However, when Xiangyi took Shui's boarding box, she found that the man's box was too light. On the contrary, her pile of wool was heavier. "Why do you have so few things?" "I can't help it. I want to go home." While talking, the two walked to Xiang Wan. Shui called out gently, "Auntie." Xiang Wan flipped her long hair and said, "Please don't. You haven't married into our family, so it's not appropriate for you to call me Auntie. Call me Madam Xiang." "Auntie." Xiangyi protested softly. Shui chuckled and said, "Miss Xiang. It's only 10 years. Xiang Wan put on a fake smile. "I remember what you said at that time. I won't be tempted by any girl in this world." "What does this mean?" Xiang Wan knew that he was just being impulsive, but she still felt unhappy. "Little Tutu is so cute, there is no pig in this world that is worthy of her." Shui couldn't help laughing. "Tutu is different. Tutu is a little fairy." Glib tongue. Shui didn't defend himself. He walked through the VIP passage to the parking lot and opened the car door for the two ladies. After getting into the car, he took the initiative to pick up Xiangyi's crochet needle and started knitting. He was actually knitting better and faster than Xiangyi. Xiang Wan thought, "I think I can do it too." She tried, but she couldn't even lift the needle, so she gave up on the spot. This is not something that can be done by humans at all. At the side, Shui's fingers flew nimbly and cleverly. Xiang Wan said with a sharp tongue, "You're inhuman." If it were anyone else, they would probably mind and get angry, but Shui said gently, "This is just a small trick." "It's just a small trick." "Ms. Xiang, you're the one who's at the peak of jewelry design." "I like your designs the most," Xiang Wan interrupted him. "I know, you're going to talk about the Drunken Red Makeup series, right? That was Xiang Wan's famous work, and it was also the most well-known set of jewelry designs." Shui said gently, "I like the Drunken Red Makeup series too, but I still like your Such a Country the most." Xiang Wan coughed softly. Is that so?" Chapter 10-15. For a long time, people with ulterior motives approached Xiang Wan and mentioned that the Drunken Red Makeup series. In fact, Xiang Wan was quite disgusted. But what Shui mentioned was a set of unpopular designs that had not been officially sold. There were only drawings and a set of finished products, which were now collected in a foreign art museum. Xiang Wan herself liked that series of works very much, and even had a good impression of Shui. Then, Xiangyi enjoyed her boyfriend's 10-minute bootlicking. Shui praised Xiang Wan's Such a Country from all angles. His words were gorgeous, his professional knowledge was profound, and his art appreciation was superb. Xiangyi was simply amazed. Originally, she was worried that her aunt would not like Shui and would mercilessly ridicule her like how she treated her little uncle. Unexpectedly, 10 minutes later, Xiang Wan looked at Shui with a much gentler gaze and said with satisfaction, "You're a good child." "Xiangyi? I'm very relieved to leave Tutu in your hands." "Xiangyi? When are you going to get married? I have to design wedding rings for you. Xiangyi. Shui smiled slightly. Progress bar on ant, from 0% to 100%, it was that simple. Along the way, Xiangyi thought that her aunt had changed, but when they returned to the old mansion, her little uncle and aunt bumped into each other. Xiang Feng instinctively trembled and took 2 steps back. His 3 souls were all out of his body as he looked around to see if there was a taller tree. Xiang Wan crossed her arms and said lazily, "Feng Feng." Xiang Feng puffed out his chest and stood at attention. "Here. I heard that you rubbed off a piece of paint on my Afan's little cutie." Xiang Wan liked to buy cars, and the little cuties she mentioned were all kinds of sports cars, off-road vehicles, and large motorcycles. Xiang Feng said with a sad face, "It's just a small piece, really." "Sis, it's just a small piece." Xiang Wan hooked her finger. "Come here." "I won't. Don't force me to go over." His tone was threatening. Xiang Feng inched to her side and caught a glimpse of Xiangyi and Shui out of the corner of his eye. "Sis, Lil, Xiangyi and Shui are still here." "Ears." "Sis, come over here yourself." Xiangyi tugged at Shui's sleeve. "Ahem, maybe you want to watch the clouds with me?" Shui chuckled. "My pleasure." "Woo woo." Xiang Feng hunched over. The 1.8-meter-tall man pitifully put his ear in front of Xiang Wan. Xiang Wan grabbed it and turned on her machine gun mode. "Did you grow your head to look taller?" His IQ is thinner than the oxygen in the Himalayas, and the pit in his brain is deeper than the Liana Trench. Where did he get the guts to touch my little cutie? Cry, cry, cry your head. I dare you to cry one more time. Squat down, put your hands on your head, and do 100 frog jumps. Xiang Feng, Weiak, compared to Xiang Wan, even the great demon King Sanction seemed gentle and cute. After the frog jumps, Xiang Feng was already a cripple. Trembling, he used his last breath to send a voice message in the group. Xiang Wan is back. Xiang Yu, horrifying. JPG. Xiang Qi, help, demon, my little aunt. Xiang Li, sanction. The next second, a message popped up in the group. Xiang Wan, I'm smiling in the group. For a moment, everyone was in danger. Xiang Yu has withdrawn a message. Xiang Qi has withdrawn a message. Xiang Li has withdrawn a message. Only Sanction hadn't withdrawn a message. Xiangyi and Shui whispered to each other, "Big brother is still the best." A moment later, a message appeared on the screen. Sanction has left the group chat. Everyone. Chapter 10:16. Big brother actually left the group chat. As expected of the woman whom even the demon is afraid of, help, in the living room of the old mansion. Xiang Wan clicked her tongue and said, I haven't taught Chen Chen a lesson in a long time. I wonder how his ears feel now. Xiang Yi shivered. Auntie is too strong. Xiang Feng, who was at the side, seemed to be facing a formidable enemy. He moved closer to Madame Xiang and complained like a primary school student. Mom, look at her. She's a girl. How can she be so shrewish and barbaric? She won't be able to find a boyfriend. Madame Xiang pretended to be deaf. What are you talking about? I can't hear you clearly. Hello? Xiang Feng was speechless. Mother, your acting is so clumsy. She sneered. I'm shrewish? Barbaric? Xiang Feng shivered. No, sister, you're clearly the most gentle, beautiful, and adorable woman in the world. It could be said that he had a strong desire to survive. Xiang Wan flexed her wrist and said, Come here. Xiang Feng felt a dull pain in his ears again and tried his best to hide behind Madame Xiang. Madame Xiang wanted to say something but hesitated. Don't come over, I'm scared too. When Xiang Wan started to ridicule her own mother, she was also very sharp. Mom, you're spoiling him too much. He's already in his 30s, but he doesn't behave properly every day. He secretly orders junk food deliveries behind your backs. Not only does he eat it himself, he even brought Tutu to eat junk food. What kind of behavior is that? He's instigating a crime. Madame Xiang's gaze turned cold and she looked at Xiang Feng. Go over. Xiang Feng was speechless. Mom, you don't love me anymore, Xiang Feng's wails echoed in the living room. In order to hide from Xiang Wan, he jumped up and down in the room. Xiang Yin reprimanded him, but the corners of his mouth curled up. We're a family. It's better to be lively. As for Xiang Feng getting beaten up. How dare he bring Tutu to eat junk food? He deserves it. After a long period of chaos, Xiang Wan gracefully sipped her afternoon tea. Xiang Feng stood at the door, carrying a small suitcase. I can't take this anymore. I want to run away from home. Don't stop me. The living room was so silent that one could hear a pin drop. Xiang Feng put his hand on the door frame and asked, unwilling to give up, are you really not going to make me stay? Madame Xiang, oh. Xiang Yin said, oh. Xiang Wan said, hurry up and leave. Xiang Yi said softly, little uncle, remember to come back for dinner if you're hungry. Xiang Feng's eyes were brimming with tears. Little Xiang Yi was still the best. What a heartwarming little cotton-padded jacket. Uncle didn't spoil you for nothing. The next second, he heard the little rabbit say, if you're not hungry, then don't come back. Otherwise, Auntie will beat you up again, Xiang Feng, I'm not afraid of her. I was just giving her face, that's all. Humph. He flicked his sleeves and left. No matter how one looked at his back, it was lonely. As soon as Xiang Feng left, the housekeeper came in and reported, young miss, there are 2 girls outside. They claim to be your junior high school classmates. Huh? Xiang Yi got up and said, I'll go take a look. Xiang Wan frowned, but she didn't stop her. Shui seemed to have sensed something and asked in a low voice, why has Tutu never mentioned her classmates? Wow, this mansion is really grand. Yeah, I didn't expect Xiang Yi's family to be so impressive. Building a mansion in a place where every inch of land is expensive is really not something that can be done with money, the 2 young girls chattered non-stop. When they saw Xiang Yi, they greeted her enthusiastically. Xiang Yi, do you still remember us? Xiang Yi said indifferently, sorry, I don't remember. Chapter 10:17. No way, you actually don't remember us? We were your middle school classmates. Girl A's tone was exaggerated, as if Xiang Yi had done something unforgivable. Girl B blinked and said sympathetically, Xiang Yi, don't tell me you're still holding a grudge over what happened back then. Okay, we'll apologize to you, okay? A few big question marks appeared on Xiang Yi's little head. When she was young, her grandparents took care of her. The 2 of them liked to live in different cities for a while, so she transferred schools many times in middle school and high school. In addition, she kept skipping grades, so she didn't remember many of her classmates. At that time, all her time was filled to the brim. In addition to studying, she also had to study medicine and sanxian. Occasionally, when she had free time, she would run off to study gardening, cooking, and so on. Now that 2 girls suddenly appeared and said they were her classmates, Xiang Yi really didn't have any recollection of them. Girl A said unhappily, Xiang Yi, you're too petty. Didn't we just bully you back then? Why are you still holding a grudge? Before she finished speaking, Girl B bumped her elbow and said with a smile, No, you misunderstood. We were just joking with you back then. Girl A suddenly sobered up and quickly corrected herself, Yes, we were just joking with you. Do you have to hold a grudge over it for so many years? Xiang Yi's eyes were tired. She felt that it was better to knit a few more scarves than to waste time talking nonsense with them. So? Ahem. We're already here. Can't you even let us drink a cup of tea? Is this how the Xiang family treats their guests? Girl A's words were meant for the housekeeper. She thought that the Xiang family's housekeeper would definitely be smooth and slick and take care of everything. He would definitely let them in. That way, the two of them would be able to bring up the matter of the invitation letter. Unexpectedly, the housekeeper was expressionless. "Young miss, are they really your classmates?" "I don't know either." Girl A was anxious. "How could we lie about something like this?" Girl B was more shrewd. She took out a school badge from her bag. "This is Xingyin Junior High School's badge. I've been keeping it." Xiangyi tried to recall. "I think I studied in that school for about a month." That's right. We're your classmates from the class next door." The butler was speechless. How could they be considered classmates? But then again, Little Miss was always bullied by her classmates in the past. Sigh, he really felt bitterly disappointed for Little Mississippi. "If that's the case, then come in and have some afternoon tea," Xiangyi said lazily as she asked the housekeeper to bring her half-knitted scarf. In the courtyard, a young girl yawned. She was lazy and sleepy, but the speed at which she knitted the scarf was very fast. Her white and slender hands fluttered in the wind, and it was pleasing to the eye. The butler served the three of them English tea and French desserts, bowed, and left. Girl A took a sip of tea and praised, "Xiangyi, your tea is so good. Wow, this dessert is so beautiful. Can I take a picture?" "Feel free." She took out her phone and kept taking selfies. She muttered that she would upload them to her WeChat moments later. Girl B secretly cursed her for being an idiot. She smiled at Xiangyi. "Xiangyi, I heard that your aunt returned to the country. According to tradition, she's going to hold a party. I want to ask, do you have any more invitations for us?" "Of course, it's fine if you don't. We don't want to cause trouble for you." Chapter 10:18. Xiangyi yawned, her doe eyes glistening with tears. "No." Girl B's words were beautiful, but her eyes betrayed her. Her fingers unconsciously clenched the hem of her skirt. Girl A couldn't be bothered to take photos anymore. "It's just 2 invitations." "Xiangyi, can't you just tell your aunt? We're classmates after all. Aren't you going to give us some face? Or are you saying you can't even get an invitation?" Xiangyi said, "Well, I can't. I'm useless. I can't get one." "No way, how can you be so mean to yourself?" Girl A was impatient and wanted to say more, but Girl B kicked her calf under the table. She immediately shut up. "Xiangyi, do you still remember the Lover's Lake and the cherry blossoms at Xingyin High? A lot of people go there now." Girl B changed the topic as if nothing had happened. Girl A suddenly realized. So they're trying to play the emotional card. Thus, the two of them started to reminisce about their so-called youth with Xiangyi. As they chatted, Xiangyi casually asked a few questions and got the whole story. "Xiangyi, we didn't mean to ignore you back then. Yeah, we didn't mean to lock you in the bathroom. Besides, didn't you kick the door open yourself? We didn't mean to report you either. You received too many love letters and gifts, so you were targeted by the dean." Xiangyi fell into deep thought. Back then, was she bullied in school? In the living room. That's pretty much it. Tutu used to be bullied in school. Fortunately, she was slow and never thought that others were bullying her. Xiangwan blamed herself when she talked about the past. Xiangyi changed schools many times, but she never had any lingering feelings. At first, the Xiang family didn't think much of it, but later on, they found it strange. It seemed like she never had any friends. It wasn't until one time when Xiang once secretly went to the school to see Bunny that she realized what Xiangyi had gone through. On the surface, Xiangyi was a popular figure in the school and was very popular. In fact, all kinds of cold violence, soft violence, and verbal violence emerged one after another. Xiangyi was very polite to everyone, but because she was too busy to socialize, she kept a distance from her classmates. In the eyes of her peers, Xiangyi was arrogant, cold-blooded, and condescending. Therefore, some people were like rats in the dark, secretly doing things that could not be exposed. Thinking about it now, Xiangwan still felt angry. Although she had already taught those scumbags a lesson behind Xiangyi's back, Lin Mengya knew that Lin Mengya was not a good person. Shui pushed his glasses up with his fingers, the lenses reflecting coldness. He slowly stood up and walked towards the courtyard. Xiangwan thought about it and walked out with him. The two of them stood on the steps and heard the conversation of the three girls in the courtyard. Xiangyi, we were just joking back then. Now that I think about it, isn't it funny? Please don't take it to heart. Forgive us, okay? Hearing this, Xiangwan couldn't take it anymore. She rushed forward in her slippers, and her flats gave off a swift and decisive aura. She quickly grabbed the hair of the two girls and said, "What are you doing? Joking? You guys look like a joke to me. Forgive? Why should I forgive you? Who do you think you are? Your existence is probably to prove the validity of the biological diversity theory. Our tutu has my protection, understand?" Chapter 10:19. The two girls were so frightened that their faces turned pale and they shrieked. "Ah!" Xiangwan let go of the two girls in disgust and wiped her fingers carefully with a wet towel. The two girls' meticulously styled hairstyles were now a mess and they looked rather pathetic. Girl A was furious. "Who are you? Who are you to treat us like this?" Facing Xiangwan's bright and beautiful face, the rest of the words were automatically silenced, and no sound could be heard. "She's actually the daughter of the Xiang family," Girl B apologized meekly. "Miss Xiang, we didn't do it on purpose. If we've disturbed you, we're really sorry. Alright. You're already a 1,000-year-old fox, so why are you still acting like a little white lotus?" Xiangwan rolled her eyes. "Back then, weren't you the one who led the pack to isolate us little bunnies?" Xiangwan had never liked scheming people like her. Under Xiangwan's domineering aura, Girl B's face turned paler and paler. Cold sweat kept seeping out of her forehead and her foundation was a little mottled. Xiang Yi was confused. Isolated. Xiangwan was confused. "Don't you know that you've been isolated before?" Have I? Xiang Yi asked with uncertainty. Xiangwan was speechless. Should I say that being heartless is an advantage or a disadvantage? Actually, when I was a student, I never paid attention to things like social relationships. Xiang Yi said in an obedient and soft voice. As long as my heart is firm enough, the disturbances of the outside world won't affect me at all. Besides, they can't bully me. Girl A sobbed. Yes, we locked her in the washroom but she kicked the door open and smashed the few of us. We gossiped about her but she didn't care at all. Instead, we were beaten up by the school bully. By the way, she even has a fan club. We were scolded for a long time. We reported that she was in a relationship and the dean not only punished her but also found the informant. During the flag-raising ceremony, a large group of us took turns to read the flag. Xiang Yi was speechless. Xiangwan, listening to the girl's tearful complaints, those who did not know the truth would probably think that she was the one who was bullied. Don't be an eyesore here. Scram. Xiangwan's sharp eyes swept over them, and the two girls trembled like quails. You support me, I support you and quickly leave. Xiangwan pretended that nothing had happened and wanted to go back to the living room, but Xiangyi grabbed her wrist. Auntie. The young girl's eyes were curved and her dimples were shallow. Didn't you say before that you didn't care about me at all? Then how did you know that I was bullied? Xiangwan said stubbornly, I don't care now. As soon as he opened his mouth, he sounded like an old Sundara from the Xiang family. But you helped me teach them a lesson just now. Are you seeing things? Your aunt is already an adult. Do you think I'm the kind of person who would stand up for the younger generation and fight with a little girl? Xiangyi laughed out loud and held Xiangwan's arm, leaning her head on her shoulder. Auntie, you're so good. She was so lucky to have such a family. On the surface, they supported her, but in the dark, they protected her so that she could grow up without any worries. Although she had lost her parents' love, she had received a lot of love. She inadvertently looked up and met Shui's gentle and clear eyes. The young girl's smile deepened. There was now one more person who loved her in this world. Dad, Mom, you can rest assured. Chapter 1020. A few days later. One of the directors managed to contact Xiang Yi through director Yan and Li Jianyu's connections. A live stream party? Yes, the netizens are now very interested in the lifestyle of the wealthy. Of course, we also learned that the invited socialites also want to use this opportunity to increase their influence. The director rambled on. Xiang Yi went to ask for her aunt's opinion. Xiang Wan was quite open-minded and had always liked new things. Hence, the live stream was quickly finalized. When the invited socialites found out that the party was going to be live-streamed, they put in even more effort to prepare for it. There were already several who fought over Xiang Qi's handmade haute couture dresses. On the day of the party, Xiang Yin and Madame Xiang preferred tranquility, but they would always accede to their daughter's requests. The two of them went on a day trip accompanied by their future grandson-in-law, Shi Sui, and vacated the old mansion to host a party for Xiang Wan. The decoration style was simple and refreshing, with floral patterns, lace, bows, and other girly elements as embellishments. At 10:00 in the morning, the live stream began. Countless curious netizens swarmed in, wanting to see what the gathering of the top socialites was like. The director was well aware of the public's psychology. Several cameras were filming the details of the banquet from different angles. The comments section was full of exclamations from the netizens. Damn, they're actually using real flowers. I've seen this flower in a florist before. It's a cream-colored lily of the valley imported from France. Each flower costs 2 digits, but the Xiang family is actually using them as decorations. Ah, isn't this dessert from the Nanqing Hotel, which is a must-have for internet celebrities? Even an afternoon tea is so expensive. I really want to transmigrate into the body of a rich and beautiful woman to eat dessert on the spot. QAQ, venue design professionals are crying in a storm. What kind of godly design is this? Judging from the style, it should be the work of a big shot. When can I have such creativity and beauty? While the netizens were lamenting, guests began to arrive one after another. Beautiful women, dressed in gorgeous clothes, gradually became mesmerizing. The netizens began a second round of exclamations. This gauze dress is so ethereal. Damn, isn't this Brand D's spring fashion show next year? Someone actually bought it now? Sure enough, a gathering of top socialites is even more impressive than a celebrity walking the red carpet. Even A-list celebrities have to beg to get their hands on a high-end set, but the entire venue is filled with, of course, most netizens only had one thought: sob, 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 Sister E, baby, where are you? Only God knew how difficult it was to catch a glimpse of Xiang Yi. It was only then that everyone realized how blissful it was to watch Xiao Po's live stream. After waiting for a long time, there was still no sign of Xiang Yi. However, the netizens were waiting for Xiang Wan to appear. She said a few simple words and raised her glass. Everyone at the scene raised their champagne glasses. It wasn't an exaggeration to say that the moment Xiang Wan appeared, many daughters of the world's top companies and princesses of small countries were compared to her. She was simply like a maid next to a young lady in a movie or TV series. That was the aura of a real socialite. Others could at most imitate her clothes, but they could not imitate the noble charm in her bones. Amidst the endless calls, the camera turned and caught sight of Xiang Yi's figure. The girl was wearing a blue and white checkered skirt, a ginger fisherman's hat, and a strawberry knitted bag. She looked simple and casual, as if she had come for a picnic. Like the moon surrounded by stars, she was surrounded by several tall and handsome figures. Xiang Yu, Xiang Qi, Xiang Li, Sangchen. It was rare that the brothers of the Xiang family were all there. The live stream instantly exploded.